No, 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 no! Ah!
Oh, hi, it's Daddy Burrito, and you're watching CoCoTALK with Stevie Stroh.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Guns and staggering, colored baseball. None can hold a candle to the greatest of them all. Nightmare Highway. Nightmare Highway. It's got roads. It's got cars. Lots of furniture and you'll be a pop star. Well, okay, I guess I just must face the facts. To tell the truth, this game really ain't all that. Nightmare Highway. Nightmare Highway.
And now for something terrible. Computer, oh, Coca-Cola, you are my candy girl, and you got me wanting you. Computer, oh, Coca-Cola, you are my tender girl, and you got me wanting you.
So just so everybody's aware, here's some information for the 2022 Fest. Let me get to this screen here. So we had 39 exhibitors, vendors, and in that we had 62 tables available in our exhibit space, and we are using 60 of those tables. So thanks for everybody who got a table and is exhibiting something or has products for sale. Saturday showed 112 attendees, so we broke 100. That's a good margin, and glad for that. 65 dinners, so there's a good representation for our Saturday evening dinner. And then on to some financials here. I watched the auction yesterday. It looks like that was a lot of fun. 50 auction lots were sold, and tentatively we have $2,300 in auction proceeds for 2022 CoCoFEST. But with all of that, with all the monies brought in so far, tentatively looking for over $5,000 of gross receipts for the 2022 CoCoFEST. So thanks for everybody for participating.
Going to Vegas.
Hello, everybody.
And welcome to the show. It's our CoCoFEST follow-up, wrap-up, hangover, whatever you want to call it.
Oh, some of us are hungover. All right.
Ooh.
We'll have some on the scene reporting from Jason a little later, but first we want to actually get to some people that attended their very first I'm getting some echo here, CoCoFEST show. And I'll start with Ken, who did a marathon drive, which is bad enough, but then he did a marathon drive with me, which is even worse. So Ken, you want to explain what you thought of I guess the trip there, some of the extracurricular trips we took afterwards, the fest itself, being a vendor, being in person at it, stuff you saw, things you did. Go ahead.
Okay, well, let's see. The CoCoFest itself was awesome. The trip up there and back, well, the company was so. No, it was a lot of fun.
Sleep-inducing, I think, is the word you used.
Yeah, I got lots of little naps as somebody prattled on about something or other, some operating system or something. Anyways, no, it was a lot of fun. Yeah. Everybody was pretty much exactly as I expected them to be. Having met most of you on line before. So, yeah, a few surprises of people there. But I don't know what else to say. I'm definitely going back again next year.
Cool. I know one thing, like the first time I ever went to a CoCoFest, which is when I got to know people a bit more on the listservs and stuff. Rainbow Fest, there's just so many people. I have no idea who I met even to this day. But the heights of some people was quite surprising, how tall certain people were. Like I remember Chris Hawks and Mark Overholzer is another one, actually was much taller.
Well, everybody looks the same height on the their cameras because they'll basically have them facing the same, but then you see them in person and yeah.
Completely different.
Yeah,
completely different.
You just go up to them. I look up to you. You're literally looking up. So, but how did you find it actually being a bit of a vendor? I mean, you were kind of helping me with the Nitrous 9 booth. You helped me with the seminar afterwards. I guess this is your first seminar you've ever given too. So, what was your thoughts?
It's my second seminar. I did the online one last year. So
that was online. It doesn't count. So this is in person with people in front of you, trying hard to stay awake.
Well, the seminar was nerve-wracking considering all the technical issues that were happening just before we went on, but yeah.
And did you manage to catch some of the other seminars too? Or?
I did watch a few, and I plan on. See, I'm still traveling. I'm still in CoCoFest mode. I'm not home yet, so I'm just stopped for a couple hours so I could do this, and then I got to get back on the road. But so I plan on watching all the seminars when I get home. But yeah, I did catch a few, and being at the table was a lot of fun. Getting to actually meet people there and talk about Nitrous 9, even though I am a beginner at it and don't know a lot, but
that's pretty well me too. So yeah. I'm just more boring about it.
You've only been doing it for how many years?
Actually, I didn't even realize it until this morning, but this is the 30th anniversary year of Nitrous 9.
And you were able to talk about it for 30 hours straight. So
yeah, 1 hour for each year that we put into it. Yeah.
But yeah, and then of course the trip all over North America was a lot of fun afterwards. Getting to go and meet Boat and Aaron over at the Amigos, and
yeah, that was fun. We did that Monday night, I think it was. So
yeah,
we had an hour and a half sleep in 48 hours. I think that particular John.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah,
I slept for about an hour and a half while you were at your meeting, and you slept for about an hour while I was driving.
Yeah, it was fun.
And then the multiple times that we just about got killed on the trip.
Yeah, each of us had that happen actually. Yeah, we had some bad traffic incidents. One was in Chicago. I can't remember the other one was, but people like just suddenly slamming on their brakes right in front of you, type of thing. When you're on the exit.
The one where I was driving was a semi cutting a car off in front of us and then cutting.
Yeah, and
us
then he
off.
swerved up in front of us, trying to get away from the semis.
So Nightmare Highway Part 2.
Yeah, we've got the script already, man. It's ready to go.
But yeah,
did you buy anything at the fest too?
I absolutely bought some stuff. I got myself another Coco 3. I got myself one of Rick Hewlin's boards for the keyboard for the Coco 3.
Haven't put mine in yet.
Some video games, some magazines, a Joey Switch. I think that's all I bought. But my shopping is not done yet because I have to meet a guy later on today in Kamloops and buy some more Coco stuff. So
darn. So basically, you had a good time. It was tiring. I mean, I'm sure it was for you as it was much for me because we were road warriors a lot of the way.
Yeah, and I totally blame Taylor and Amy for that first night of no sleep.
What?
They made us take them to the warehouse for the VCF Midwest warehouse.
Yeah, made us.
Made
Yeah.
us. Oh, yeah, forgot. Quotes, made us. We were going to go for 5 minutes. And I don't know what, like 4 hours later, we finally got out of there.
Yeah, it was funny because I was kind of thinking the same thing. I had a business meeting in Pennsylvania at 10 in the morning. And my original plan was, of course, to go and get some sleep beforehand. But the warehouse was so interesting. Like I would have stayed longer too, except I literally needed the time to get there by 10 in the morning. In fact, I was 15 minutes late. But I didn't even get changed. I didn't stop. We didn't sleep, nothing. I just drove for 10 hours and went had my meeting directly in my little Hawaiian shirt. And the meeting went well.
If you watch the video that we did over at Amigos on Monday night, we're still wearing the same clothes we were wearing Sunday morning for our presentation because, yeah, we hadn't stopped.
And not really slept either. So then we drove another 8 hours to get over to the Amigos. Yeah, it was fun. Then we went to Boat's place, visited his basement studio. Then we went to Aaron's place and visited his. Well, he has a bedroom studio for some of his live stream stuff. And then he has that one where he actually built like a metal shed that is actually housing the main Amigos. That was kind of cool, actually. I wasn't expecting that. With real pinball machines and all kinds of stuff there too. So there's a video of us that was on Twitch. They just released the YouTube video, I think yesterday or today. So if anybody didn't catch that, you can catch me and Ken along with Boat and Aaron. Brent was going to be there, but Brent had worked overtime and then he went home, kind of forgot that we were coming into town and went straight to bed. So when we phoned him, he says, I'm already in my pajamas. I'm in bed. I'm not coming over. He's literally across the street from Aaron. But so I'm going to give him hell when I go to Boat Fest next month. Yeah,
I mean, really, 40 hours. We drove 40 hours to get there and he went to bed.
Yeah, after driving, 20 blocks from work. I mean, come on, man.
Hey, pajamas are good enough.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I want to thank you too, Ken, for a couple things. One, helping with the presentation. Two, for helping man the booth. I'm kind of putting you on the spot for some of that stuff. Three, for putting up for me for God knows how many hours in the drive. Me paddling on about OS9. And when I couldn't talk anymore because I was getting too hoarse, I actually found a podcast talking about OS9 for another hour. So I threw that on. So I'm sure I've melted your brain completely at this point. And then I want to thank you for something else that you actually told me at the beginning of my part of the presentation, because I had not thought of it. 30 years I've been working with Next and I never thought of this. But I was going to try to show, like, how am I going to show a part of the source code while I'm explaining it on the screen? I don't have a laser pointer or anything, and it just, I don't know, my brain's just befuddled or I'm just stupid or what. But you actually just point out, you still got the mouse cursor on the screen. You can just move the cursor to show what line you're talking about. Duh, okay. So that's what I ended up doing. I could have done that years ago, never did. So thanks for pointing out the obvious. You an idiot. But that really helped the presentation. So
in the live chat, Mickey is saying that Ken needs an award for the last to get home from CoCoFEST.
Right.
Well, the distance too. If you combine like the Amigos trip, and plus he has, he added on the Vancouver to Saskatoon to Vancouver trip on top of it. You're getting close to, what is it, 9,000 kilometers or something?
No, I'm 10,380 kilometers in the end. I think I'll be
over the span of like 10 or 11 days.
But who's counting?
Yeah, who's counting?
It just kind of blurs together after a while. So
can you put that in American units?
That's about 6,200, about 6,500 miles, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
You're going to need a truck driver's license.
Right.
Actually, if he bought everything he wanted to, he would have needed a truck driver's license because you need a semi-trailer truck. So.
Yeah, pretty much. I managed to get to CoCoFEST and spend all the money I had within the first hour.
You just didn't bring enough money.
Yeah.
Well, then I had to go find a bank machine to get more.
And I know Taylor and Amy, after we went to see the VCF warehouse, which we'll get into it in a little bit here too, of course, they were telling us you should rent a semi-trailer truck and just haul it all down here. Because I even asked specifically, if we could get stuff out of there for you, what would you want? And was it Amy or Taylor? I can't remember. Said basically just in all caps, all of it.
Yes, please.
My sister's a tractor trailer driver. Let me call her.
Oh, geez, why didn't you tell us ahead of time?
Well, I guess that's what we'll be doing at VCF Midwest is borrowing everything from the warehouse.
Well, VCF Midwest, if I remember correctly, they'll actually be bringing some of that stuff to turn on and let people use at the show type thing. Like it'll actually be using some of the hardware as opposed to just showing it. So I guess quick before we get on to our next guest is how many people on the panel here are planning to go on at VCF Midwest, and when's the date of it again, Ken?
I think it's the third weekend of September, or
September 9th and 10th, or 10th and 11th.
is that
Okay.
early? Oh, I thought it was near to the end of it.
No, it's like the second weekend, I do believe.
Okay, well, you'll have to get back to me on that. That might change my travel plans.
Ah,
September 10th and 11th, according to the ticker that's going across my screen.
yes.
Okay, I'm gonna actually be in Northwestern Ontario when that happens, so I could just drive straight to Chicago from there. And excellent.
That's a
Oh, so
short.
you'll-
Shorter
Down
trip.
just around the street, isn't it?
Yeah, it's only like I think 16 hours. So
That's,
No,
that,
right
that's
down
that
the-
metric geometry.
Right down the road.
Cool. Yeah, because I'll be at Boat Fest next month where I'll be representing Coco stuff. In fact, they're talking about doing some sort of a game of some sort or something related to Coco as part of the general retro festivities. And I'll probably be the runner for it, like I was at PenFest 2000, which Nick actually got me to do back then. For I think that case it was a trivia contest. I'm not exactly sure what they're doing on this one, but there's something where I'll be running around with questions or something. I'm not sure exactly what yet. So yeah, a couple shows coming up. So who are on the panel is planning to go to VCF Midwest? I won't be able to because that's my busy time at work, but
I'm planning on it.
I'm hoping to.
I'm planning on it also.
oh, good. So that sounds like a fair number of the Coco people are going to be there. Are you guys going to get like a whole Coco section again, or?
I would have
Just
asked to be
okay.
put in the Coco section, so we'll see. It depends on how they do the tables, but
Okay.
I
Cool.
abstain.
Because I know Mark Overalls, when you guys did it on the West Coast one, that actually worked out pretty well. So
Oh yeah, it was great. We had lots of interest. It was Mikey and Rob Inman and Tim Linder and I. So
okay, and then I guess we'll get on to our second set of guests, which I know we have a substitute.
And
So if you want to
Maureen-
introduce yourselves, because you were both at the fest too, so this works just fine.
Yeah.
So
It looks like I'm Amy, but I'm actually Maureen. I am the legal support,
Adult supervision.
adult
For
supervision.
the Taylor and Amy show.
I provide food, to try to get the dogs outside on time, which may or may not work. Moral support, adult beverages, things like
bail
that.
money.
Right, bail. I know the lawyers, so I'm good.
yeah, you're also the good luck charm for winning draws too.
I know. In fact, what happened is it was my first CoCoFEST. I had a wonderful time. Thank you so much. It was fabulous. I went around to everyone's booth. I was so impressed with how many items and larger than you can carry on an airplane. Things were around, and that was really quite exciting. And
Show them your souvenir.
I did get a souvenir. I was very excited. I wanted to have something that suggested that I, knew something about any of this, which I do know because I watch all of the Taylor and Amy show videos.
So in her wallet, amidst her credit cards,
can you see this? I have a circuit board for a mouse.
Oh my
David
goodness
Mack
gracious.
House.
I make the rounds all over the place.
So it's now with my credit cards in my wallet. So whenever I wish to impress someone with my geek, I can get out my geek. This is my geek cred card.
yeah.
How does that go at the airports?
I thought it was going to be an issue, but it
No
wasn't.
problem.
They didn't even care. They wanted to know how much food I was carrying, which was apparently a fair amount if you carry those power bars. And their machine is like, what is this, Devon? What is this? So it was fantastic. And everyone was so wonderful and helpful. And I really went around to all the booths. And then, of course, I watched, is it Rick Adams doing his coding? So I sat down for a minute so I could watch him do programming. That was really cool. I, of course, watched all the singing and musical experience and engaged in many a wonderful conversation about computers and programming and building, and I just was enthralled. And so thank you. It was great.
Oh, I'm glad you had fun at it. But we weren't expecting any of you to show up, so that was a complete surprise to begin with. But
Surprise! Yeah, so I think in retrospect, not registering for the conference and then registering for the conference late when we got there may have been the secret to winning the raffle. Our raffle tickets were kind of right on top, and I guess they didn't jostle or shuffle the bag there, or I'm completely wrong. But I remember I remember at lunch, Curtis, you said, "Man, I've been coming to these things for years, and I've never won anything." And Amy's like, "Really? It's so easy."
Yeah, she was just rubbing it in at that point.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, once there was the $25 draw, I said, when we got to the table, I said, "Oh, I really hope to win, but I wish to win the largest dollar amount." And so, yay for that. So we held out.
What did you spend it on?
Oh, well, it's Taylor and Amy's support. So here we go. Coming your
More
way.
coconuts, right?
We got a case for our Pi 400 to make it look like a Coco. Please,
John Strong.
Lovely.
That's John
see
Strong.
the Taylor and Amy show CoCoFEST vlog video for more on this.
On the Taylor and Amy YouTube channel.
Can you hear the certificate there? I'm going to show off this so we can prove, in fact, that this was won.
Yeah, I was very happy that after we redeemed it, they gave it back to us.
Oh, cool.
So we've got a souvenir for the lab.
So the deal with the raffle was that you had to spend it at one of the vendors there, right? It wasn't just money.
Mm-hmm. Right. You could spend it on the vendors or the auction.
We thought about the auction. We went and saw everything.
There were some cool things
Yeah.
in the auction, but the only stuff I wanted went for way more than the gift certificate.
So, Taylor, what was your opinion of the show? I mean, you came as a complete surprise to all of us. This is your first CoCoFest. You ended up actually kind of almost becoming a vendor yourself, not selling things, but you got your own table and you were showing off the pie and the whole wireless thing.
Right. We had a little boothlet. So I guess I hadn't thought about it, how many Coco people are into the Coco and may not know a lot about the Raspberry Pi. And since I was running that Coco Pi distribution on my Pi 400, and I had brought it because I had questions. I had stuff I could not figure out how to get to work, and I wanted to ask the people to help me. Oh, look, Amy just got here, so that's perfect. Anyway, so my solution that I had used for using VNC to connect wirelessly to an iPad as a monitor, a lot of people were like, "Wait, what?" And I got, so I explained it and that sort of thing. We've even on our YouTube channel, there's Amy. But, okay, now you got the three. Now you have the triumvirate.
Yeah.
As
our
the
overlords
prophecy
are here.
foretold, the Trinity.
The pie, yeah, it's 3.1415 of you, right?
Yeah. And Amy and I are in our Taylor and Amy show shirts because we were super happy to show off our merchandise.
Which is brand new as of the
Anyway,
fest,
I've
too.
actually, well, on the video, we got an email from somebody asking us to do a video on how to do that VNC setup. Because I just didn't realize that people might not know. I've been playing with Raspberry Pis for so long, for so many years. It's just second nature to set them up for me. I've got like 4 or 5 around the lab that are running headless. And, but I think people might be more interested in Coco Pi, but they don't know the Raspberry Pi stuff. So I'm going to, hopefully do more on that in the future because I'm happy to help. And and a lot of people don't necessarily know that bit.
Yeah, well, the fact that you showed up impromptu and I think just to attend, and then you actually ended up contributing the whole thing. That was just awesome.
Thank
That's
you.
a great first show.
We stole part of your booth. Yeah.
Oh, no, that was fine.
Yeah. Hope you didn't need this real estate. This is. We're
No,
here
I
now.
mean, to be honest, we chose a fairly large one just because it's a place to sit down and you want people to be able to sit down and chat and whatever else. And you two
Set
are
up their
fascinating to
own
talk to
computer.
anyway. So that worked out good.
Yeah, no, because the other piece, the only piece that we had planned was the song, and we brought that as an MP3 file, and I didn't even know who to hand it to, right? So I guess I'm talking to you guys at dinner on Friday night, and I'm like, so we have a little present for you, it's a little song if you want to play it sometime, and then we wind up doing an interpretive dance at the opening ceremony. So that happened.
Yeah, we just sucked you right into being right up front, right off the start. It was good.
Yeah, and I would like to publicly apologize to all the people who I got the RGs stuck in their head. That's on me, and I also had that stuck in my head for a while, a long time.
It was a great
Actually-
song. I mean, you really got everybody with the 6809 6502 line. That was perfect.
Controversy. Yeah. Well, okay. See, so I've gotten comments on the video saying, "Are you sure that the 6809 is better than the 6502?"
Did you really mean it?
I have. Okay.
I will defend you two to the death on that one.
And I appreciate that, but I never said it was better. That line in the song is a mathematical truth that is 6809 is greater than 6502. That's all I said. Now, I may believe that one is better than the other, but that line should be uncontroversial. But
It sounds like you had some
I was very-
lawyerly advice on that. Eh?
It's like I
smell
did.
a loophole.
Some legalese
It's
wording
like I
there.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Maureen's got you
very
covered there.
careful to thread that needle on that one line.
It's clickbait. It's we're stoking controversy.
That's right.
For
For clicks, for views. And it's working.
Mission accomplished. And it's accurate on all levels. I'll just tell you that right out front. There's no
It is.
controversy there.
Yes. I would not be able to make that same mathematical statement about the 6309. So I was glad that I didn't have to wade into actual controversy.
No, it's absolutely it was absolutely fantastic having you all out. And since you just came by, you were just kind of going through like what was your view of the fest? What did you like seeing there, etc.
I was listening on the way here.
Oh, you were? Okay.
Yeah.
So anything to add
I'm all
then, I
caught
guess.
up. I was like, oh, I see Maureen has already replaced me. I don't know. Should I turn around and go back home?
No, I can't replace you. They're irreplaceable. I'm just support.
Well, we need a lot of support.
They're just support. I'm just support.
But yeah.
So Amy's reaction to the fest. Go, I love your eyeshadow. Can y'all see her eyeshadow?
Took me a little
Yep.
reason I'm not on time now.
Yeah.
That
No,
was the
well,
reason
I
for
mean-
the delay, right? You had to make yourself look perfect for the show here.
I do. It's true. Well, I think we would not surprisingly have similar reviews of the things. I won't go back through it again, but yeah, I think one of my favorite things was that we didn't tell anyone.
Yeah, it was a complete surprise. I mean, when we saw you in the lobby, it's like, wait a sec. Because it hadn't even crossed our minds even to think about you guys showing up. So it's just what?
What did you do in the lobby? I know you.
Yeah, I remember like I
It's
got
the
him
world
sitting there.
famous
He came up
Taylor
and he was
and
like
Amy.
staring at me. He's like, yeah. Oh wait, you're this is awfully 3D.
Well, I'm like wandering back toward where CoCoFest is going to be, trying to figure out which room it is in. And I see L. Curtis Boyle and Ken come around a corner, and I'm like,
Yeah, we didn't. It wasn't secret for long. We got spotted.
yeah.
pretty
I mean,
early.
it was one of those secrets where you walk in and surprise, we're here. And then I guess later, as other people arrived, mostly OG Stevie Stroh walks in with purple hair And
But then we were old news.
but well, yeah, no, but he didn't know we were coming. Yeah. So
Yeah, he was last minute too, and the purple hair. I don't think any of us knew ahead of time. Maybe a few people might have talked to him on Zoom, but that was news to me too.
it was awesome.
Yeah.
I almost
Shocked
didn't
me.
recognize him. So
Purple hair,
so
who's
it sounds
this?
like you two had a good time. You guys had a great time at the warehouse for VCF too, looking through all the old hardware.
Oh my God. I got to see and touch things that I had only dreamt about. I got to see, oh my God, I have things I'd never seen before, an actual Kim 1, an Odyssey, like all these different pre-Odyssey to Odysseys, a ZX81. No, it was the Timex Sinclair one. And
yeah, things we had to Google. We're like, what is it?
yeah, things I'd only ever seen pictures of. I was like, oh my God, there's the box. And it would be like, sure, yeah, I'll open it. I'm like, so I did. I was like holding it. Like,
Let's
yeah.
move this rack out of the way. Like,
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, I had no idea how adorable that little computer is, Mark. I mean, it's so little. What else? There were all kinds of Atari stuff there. But yeah, we would just spot something and be like, I'm gonna tunnel to it. And we did. There was a TI computer I'd never heard of.
I can't even remember all the things.
Yeah.
I'm struggling to even recall.
Yeah, it was
just
overload. There was a ton of stuff, and that's not even all of it.
Yeah.
They still have basements full of stuff they haven't brought over yet. So
They had a Commodore 64 Executive, the one that was luggable, and I'd seen videos of other YouTubers
I have
doing
one of
that,
those,
and
actually.
I had never. Oh my God, I'd never like, Amy, come here, watch this. This is the keyboard. Whoop! It was so cool.
I've had
It
my
was funny.
ZX81
It was
since
funny. Go ahead, Mark.
1982. I just saying, I had my ZX81 since 1982 as a kit. And then I got the SX64 in 86. The guy I bought it from wanted to get a Commodore 128 and had to sell something. So
Well, and we knew, like, we saw computers we didn't know existed. So there was the Timex Sinclair 1000, which we knew was the American ZX81. But then Curtis spots the Timex Sinclair 1500.
right,
And we're
that
like,
had the built-in
what?
16K. Basically, it was the ZX or the TS1000, but it had the built-in 16K.
and then you got the
TS1000 have
explanation of
2K.
why they came out with that too.
Yeah,
Right.
the guy there looked it up on some website. I don't remember where he was, but so it was a stopgap between the ZX81. It was essentially a ZX81 on the interior, but it was in a more Spectrum looking form factor.
Yeah, and it had more RAM.
But the Spectrum wasn't out yet. It did not have color. And apparently, as a stopgap to keep the American markets interested, it completely did not work. Yeah, utter backfire.
Well,
I had one of
in
those.
hindsight.
The RAM
That's
pack on
wild.
the TS1000 is really flaky. I mean, I know people who glued them on or put Velcro or whatever to keep them more stable. So
Yeah.
the TS1 1500 should have been less crash prone.
Why would there be any problem with something like this?
That looks very stable.
Totally.
I think my favorite part of the VCF tour, well, the fact is Jason was trying to do it as a bit of a tour at the beginning, and then you two got so enthralled with everything you were saying, like you just said, screw the tour. We're just going to go find stuff we want to look at.
Yeah, we just
Yeah,
started
we
dumpster
bailed.
diving.
We bailed on the tour. There's a whole lot of things that involve CRTs that I'm not deeply interested in. And they had a lot of them. I mean, you could make a giant 1980s jumbotron out of all of the CRT monitors they had.
Yeah, one pixel per CRT, basically.
That's what I'm thinking.
Let's
Get out of
do
my
it.
head.
Let's do it for Halloween. It's gonna be massive.
Well, I think part of it
Yeah,
too is
so I did ditch the tour.
The y'all were just like, oh, we'll just be there for 10 minutes.
Right. We'll just take you over there, and you can just
we look around for like
take
10
the
minutes.
long view, and then we'll go.
1 hour.
We
later.
really appreciate y'all taking us over there, I will say. And I'm sorry I made you late for your meeting, Mr. Boyle.
No, I got eye contact ahead of time. It's fine. So. No, it's actually, we were talking to Jason at the end of it too. And I mean, they're planning on getting all the shelving put up. They're going to bring all the other stuff from the other basements and mother's basements and everything else and storage sheds. And we're trying to arrange like a kind of a group tour for next CoCoFest where we can take almost anybody that wants to go and actually see everything at once. Cause this was literally only about half or 3/4 of it the most. So
I love the idea of them doing some sort of shelving solution that allows you to see it all and use it. Like if they could get, you know, the power strips and, you know,
Well, they are
have
setting up that
every
lab
cool
thing where you can
computer
actually do
set up
repairs,
with
but they're
the
going to be bringing
monitor.
some equipment out to actually use during the tours. So you actually, some of it will be live hands-on stuff, and they take some stuff to VCF every year too. So
Yeah, that's going to be epic.
Like, what is this secret warehouse I've been brought to full of things?
Yeah, and I'm texting Maureen, and because she knew we were all going out to dinner, and she was like, "Hey, what's up?" And I'm like,
We're in a
"We've been
warehouse.
taken to a warehouse
randomly."
we're not sure when or if we will return.
Yeah,
I don't know where we are.
Yeah.
But we're in this warehouse.
I made it sound a little dicey, and then I was like, "No, actually, we're in geek heaven." Is what just happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing they don't show you is how to convince your spouse to let you have one.
Like
Right.
a warehouse, you mean, or what?
Yeah.
Yes, a
The
warehouse.
Warehouse.
Or the
We were
stuff in
limited
it.
by their desire to sell us things and
Which
space
which
in our,
which is zero.
which is zero, and space in our luggage.
which
So-
was also zero. Yeah, there's just
See,
like a
that's why you
box
have to
full
have
of Vic 20s.
fly.
I'm just like,
no, you just prepare ahead of time and you ship.
yeah, you ship it to yourself and then you fly.
There's no reason to drive 150 million kilometers,
Never
across
drive.
multiple
You
countries.
drove halfway around the world.
You're gonna get a DVT and a blood clot in your lung.
What about the only thing about the warehouse in retrospect were the things I forgot to ask about, because later I was like, I bet they had a Tandy Model 100 in there, and if I thought about it, I could have asked, because everything that I said, hey, you got a blank, they were like, oh yeah, it's over here.
There's three in the
So
back.
yeah, there were a few things I didn't ask about. Does anybody know if they had a Commodore PET? 'Cause
Yes.
they might have.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
They have
See, I
Commodore
would have
PET,
liked to
they
see
have
that.
and they have several Model 100s.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
hands
figured
off my
both
Model
of those
100.
things. Those are the two things I forgot to ask about that I didn't get to see. So hey, bucket list for next year.
Yeah, well, the complete collection next year, that's what I'm looking forward to. And the fact that it's going to be organized, because the fact that they can memorize, like, it's tote number 5 on pallet number 7 in the corner behind the printer type thing. Like they knew where everything was, just bang, bang, bang.
Mm-hmm. Oh, one other thing. Yeah, they did have Post-it notes on a lot of the bins, and we were all standing around waiting to go. We were just like kind of wrapping up, and I see a Post-it note on a bin that says it has a Mattel Aquarius in it, and I'm like, I don't immediately. I'm like, I'm gonna open this real quick, because I'd never seen one. And I mean, I love the idea that the company that brought us G.I. Joe and Barbie tried to get into computers in the 80s. That's just precious.
It's like you're
But
in the
hey, it
same
worked
room
for a
with
bunch
it.
of leather companies. It might have worked.
Right.
Yeah. So I
So it
was
sounds like
happy
you
to
two
see
had
that.
fun anyway.
We had a blast.
A little bit.
So that's good. That means that the 3 people on the panel that have been to their first fest all really enjoyed themselves. That's awesome. And we hope to see all of you next year, not by surprise, but planned. Now, what you guys bring to show us, you can surprise us with that.
Can we win the raffle again? I like your theory that the ticket was on top. That probably is true.
I don't know.
Come in late.
Seems like I'm accusing them of not shuffling.
Well, we were the last.
I don't know.
But true
just
random,
lucky.
you never know what's
Super
going to
lucky.
happen, right?
Well, our lawyer has
Just lucky. It wasn't there was no impropriety. It was perfectly done.
No impropriety.
And
Nor did I
we
mean to
won
imply
fair and
any.
Square. Okay, yeah, is that a good legal answer? Okay.
Yeah, there's the
All
lawyer
right,
talk.
thank you,
Yeah.
legal counsel. Thank you, legal counsel.
You're not giving it back.
We're not giving
We're
it
not
back.
No, it was fair. We're not giving it back.
It's the only money we've ever made on this show. It's true. It's true.
I tried to help there. I did order a T-shirt, so
Oh, we know.
And we appreciate
Yeah,
that.
too.
So we
I
do
even
have
finally ordered a
some merch.
CoCoTALK T-shirt for the first time. I have mugs and stuff here, but I never had a shirt. So
And we're
I corrected
using the same merch store
Yeah.
that Steve used for that. So
and for some reason,
What
yours
is
is
it?
already shipped, and the one from
Sure.
CoCoTALK is not yet.
Yeah, who knows?
that's fun. Okay.
Apparently, you two are more
That's
important, I guess.
bizarre.
The priority that we've been prioritized.
As I've been saying. I keep trying to explain that to the internet.
Oh, we're so much-
Anyway, I do want to keep the two of you tied up in case you guys need to go somewhere. And Ken, I know you have to get on the road fairly soon here to finish the last part of your horrendously long journey. So is there any questions from the panel for our first CoCoFest attendees that have never been to one before? Any comments, etc., from what you thought of them at the show, etc.? That might be a dangerous question to ask, but I'll do it anyway.
I have one question for the newbies. Did any of them get a hug from David Ladd?
I did hug David Ladd. He did not come up and hug me like he promised. I had to go hug him.
Well, I think he'd be willing, but for pandemic reasons, I kept hugging to a minimum.
Yeah,
It
I
was
think
more
we
of a
did that
fist
fist
bumping.
bump with just about everybody.
Yeah, I was going to say I didn't want to overwhelm people.
I mean, I'm pro hugging, but not usually during global pandemic.
Yeah.
So
That's fair.
Fair enough.
Just
go ahead, Nick.
In chat, Grant Lady verified that the raffle tickets were shuffled many times.
Yeah.
As per our legal counsel.
Yeah, that's what I knew. I knew that it was on the up and up.
How dare you?
Everything's
on the up and
Yep,
up.
has nothing to do with the timing of our arrival.
Nick was our third-party monitor, monitoring the stream to make sure they were shook up correctly. So
That's right.
Oh, shook up.
Strong word.
he's not quite a lawyer, but I mean, he'll sub for one for that.
Yeah. I guess it's a human nature that, like, because it's so rare to win something that when you do, you try to look for a reason that you won, which
You
is
look for
ridiculous.
patterns when there
The
are none
same
type
reason
thing.
that there's no reason that you lost
Yeah.
except for math.
Math.
What I'm trying to say is I'm not very smart.
Yeah, you're dumb.
Sorry.
So that's the impression I get off you every day.
I would completely disagree with that statement, but
Yeah, I think so. God, you're dumb.
any other questions from the panel here, or what you thought of their presentation of the song and even some of the Raspberry Pi 400 Cocoa Pi stuff they were showing off? Or
Any legal questions? Not legal advice. This is not officially legal advice.
Well, I love the song, and I'm looking forward to see what you come up with for next year.
But
right.
actually, the three of you should collaborate. I think is what should happen.
Yeah, we could. We absolutely
wrong.
could.
And more dancing. More dancing.
That would rock. We could. Oh man, we could do some 3-part harmony. That would be epic.
You have to do 2 of the parts though.
And we just want to see Bruce dancing.
No. Not that. No.
No.
That's not part of your
work on
talent
some
set?
choreography. It'll be fine. It's not hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, keeping it in time is hard for me. That's I've tried. I can't.
Do we need to get Peter Hollins in here too?
That's a
Who?
singer, right?
Yes,
I don't
he's the
know.
guy that does the a cappella songs.
No, I got it covered. Thanks.
It's like, don't encroach on my territory.
We're good.
And you can include Rick Adams in this too. And I mean, if you need some like bad guitar work, I could probably throw something in.
Oh, well.
I enjoyed your guitar work,
Sure.
and I think that okay, let's just plan next year. We're going to do full Cocoa band.
Yeah, let's do that. That's one thing we keep talking about. Paul Thayer and Rick and I have always talked about this for years. That we should actually, before Fest, plan some songs to cover and actually learn them all the way through instead of this scattershot. I think I remember this from 10 years ago when I learned it. Type thing.
Well, and now that we live in the future, you could rehearse over Zoom.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
we could make this happen. Come up with.
Then I
least a
control
small
Stevie
set.
some more.
Yeah, let's do that. This is the unofficial announcement that there will be a Cocoa band of some sort for the next Fest.
And Amy will play the triangle.
Yes, I'll bring my.
Amy will be busy hauling a semi-trailer truck up to the VCF warehouse, I think is what's going to be happening.
Right.
Because this
we're
will be the distraction. When,
Right.
Jason
Look
might be
over
handling
here.
the auction at CoCoFest and Amy will be just
And I'm like,
And we found the highway to where your home is, fairly quickly as we showed you, during the drive type thing. So you've already got the route planned out. The escape route is there. So
yeah, warehouse Rob.
And if you notice, the warehouse next to the VCF warehouse was loaded with large trucks.
oh,
Did
so she
not.
can if she overflows, she can just get some other people
I
to haul
can-
some more trucks full of stuff.
Yeah, I can bring nothing and steal a truck first.
In the same connected parking lot.
We have a question from Ron Delvaux. Taylor, did you take photos? I'm assuming he meant in the VCF warehouse. Is that correct?
We got a few. Amy got a few of me.
That are her going.
Where I just look like I've hit the lottery. Actually, you didn't send very many of them.
Oh yeah,
but
I didn't know because there was some question as to what we could post. So I
they're a bit nervous until they get the security system installed. So
we have a lot of photos like this.
Now that is one happy camper there. I have to say.
I mean, right? Yeah. Exactly. So there's a whole series of Taylor looking absolutely thrilled to be holding something random.
So we may pop some stuff up on Instagram, but we're not going to mention necessarily. We want to keep it very obfuscated.
Yeah.
Where
You're
it's
not going to
from.
mention the
It'll be
warehouse
like,
that you have no idea where it is.
it'll be mentioned in such a way. We'll be like in a mystery warehouse located somewhere in America.
Those blindfolds were effective.
Yeah. Yeah.
Might as well have done.
It's like Guantanamo where we found this warehouse.
But yeah, we're going to try to arrange with Jason to get a grand tour that we can
Love
get for CoCoFest next year. So
Well, thanks for having us on, guys.
I do feel like we don't want to overwhelm the whole thing.
I'm Maureen.
And I'm about to leave as well. So.
Yeah, and
right,
thanks, Ken, for everything you did.
drive
Thanks for
safe.
putting up with me and helping with the seminar and everything else too. That was greatly appreciated.
And thanks to Taylor and Amy for putting up with us.
Yeah,
You put up with us.
We've had
we usurped your table.
We're taking this corner.
We weren't using the whole thing anyway.
I was
going to
say,
store food
you
on
guys,
it.
you guys
We're
didn't run
using the
away
whole thing
screaming when
anyway.
I showed up.
That's so Canadian. You're like,
Taylor,
oh, guys,
the
we weren't
only
using the whole
reason we let
table.
The only reason we let you onto the table is so we would look cooler.
Yeah. And it totally worked.
Working. Well, thank you, gentlemen, and we will catch you next time.
Shall do. And we'll keep watching your show. Hopefully you'll keep watching ours.
That's the plan.
Like and subscribe.
And Ken, best travels to you, and hopefully you get some cool stuff in Kamloops there. You'll have to let us know next week what you found.
All right. I will see everybody next week then.
Later, Ken.
Bye.
All right. Bye.
Later, Amy, Taylor,
Bye,
Maureen.
everybody.
Or you can hang around if you want to, of course. I know Ken has to leave, but
We can't.
We got to make more content.
We must.
Cool.
oh darn.
And
We
I
can figure it out.
I can't.
We're trapped here
And
forever.
we're staying. Watch.
Never mind. Kick us out.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
What do we have?
You're trapped here forever.
What do we have? What do we have to look forward to next on the Taylor and Amy show?
It's the red button that says leave down in the bottom right.
I disabled that.
Yeah, and when I hit it,
Skynet is key.
okay, the red button does nothing.
I turned it off.
I'm gonna
Nothing.
okay.
That was the most grandiose exit I've ever seen.
Oh, Lordy.
Now, I was thinking about doing a commercial now, but Bruce, I know you have a tight timeline. We're actually coming up near the end of it here. If you had roughly an hour, so I think we'll let you go first before we go to a commercial break, and then start talking to the rest of the people from the Fest.
Ask me questions. I didn't prepare anything.
No, not questions, but you wanted to, I think, talk about how the booth ran for you, maybe some.
Oh yeah,
information for people who weren't at the fest about your new upcoming game and the hardware that comes with it. That if they didn't get a chance to catch the live stream of the fest yet.
Yeah, catch the stream of that. Jacob and I drove up. We're gonna seriously look at flying next time. That was a hard drive. Although Jacob keeps reminding me he'll have his driver's license next year, but I'm not sure the car rental company is going to go for that. me letting him take a tour, a turn at that. So, but yeah, we had a good time, and we were the first presenters, I believe, and I think the presentation went well. I was particularly happy, of course, that I said, Jacob, I got a couple of slides for you, and I thought he was going to say, no way, but he got up there and did it, and so I was pretty pleased with him being now officially a presenter at CoCoFEST 30 presenter. So that was pretty cool. I guess the working demo that I had of my new game Realm of Doom, we fired that up right after the presentation. But I guess the key bit of news was the 2 new sound options available for Coco developers. One being the Coco MP3, a hardware solution, and Pi Audio, a new addition to a Pi DriveWire. So the Coco MP3, I don't have it here I don't have it out. Haven't unpacked it to show yet. But the Coco MP3 is basically, it's an MP3 player that is triggered by the serial port. So you plug one cable into the serial port, and then the audio gets routed back out through the cassette port. So you plug the other piece into the cassette port. And you know how like you do audio on with your old cassettes to hear the tape. It works the same way. But of course you can trigger MP3s at any point in the game. And so in this case, my game has, because of this, has a backing track. So there's continuous, almost continuous music throughout. When you meet a monster, each monster has its own unique noise and sound, and then there's battle music when you're fighting, and then when you go into the adventure sections, there's eerie music there, and of course there's dialogue. And I had some of that queued up. If you go into the pub at the inn and hang around there long enough, you'll hear some of the patrons giving some tips or advice or just general gossip about other people in the Realm of Doom who happen to also exist in the Coco community. So there's a lot of room for fun there with that kind of stuff. So and then the software side was the Pi Audio. Essentially works the same way. If you're someone who's got Pi DriveWire, you could play the game either with hardware in the Pi DriveWire or through an emulator. Same deal. It's continuous sound because Mikey Furman added the Play Sound module out of Python into the Pi DriveWire, and I think we just did that right around Christmas, and we just, we're working back and forth up into the fest to get it all functional. Wasn't able to demo it because I could only really demo one setup, but I did come confidently knowing that it worked. We both had it working, and so I'll get back to working on that and adding more voices, and really the sky's the limit for the kind of creative things that can be done audio-wise now with a Coco game.
Now, do you have a rough estimated release date? Is it something that's still months away or weeks away? Or
Months for sure. Months. This is with Forest of Doom. It wasn't nearly as complex. There's a lot of there's potential feature creep, but there's still a lot of potential in there that I haven't realized yet. The game obviously is working, but you can't actually solve it yet. So I got to finish that. It's
plus I
big.
imagine there's a lot of other
Big.
sound effects, dialogue, and stuff you got to record. And
and having seen, and it was really handy to have various people playing it because other than myself and Jacob to see how it kind of reacted in real life, and so that was very helpful to kind of get that feedback, especially Deke's son, I think it was Isaac, who played it, and he had so many ideas for me, some which got really far beyond what the Coco was capable of, but still some pretty neat stuff. Like I said, you should have a bank in the inn so that if the robber robs you, you could at least have left some money in the bank, and it's like, that's not a bad idea. And then you can have the robbers rob the bank, and then you could be out adventuring and you get a warning. A bird flies by and says they're robbing the bank, and you can run. And anyway, it went from there. Cool ideas from a little kid. I may even implement some of them. So
awesome. So a successful fest for you, it sounds like.
Oh yeah, we had a good time. We had some good conversations. This big tree oversaw everything up on the wall. I think
the only glitch you hit was you were trying to bring the Coco Forever USB stick things, and you had to leave them at the border.
Yeah,
which thankfully you got returned to you anyway. But
thankfully the border guard was nice enough. I was trying to figure out what I got wrong there because I was researching and I thought it says, well, $200, but they changed it to $600 and all that, and maybe I was looking on the wrong place on the website. Maybe that $200 were for U.S. citizens bringing stuff back. Maybe that's how I got mixed up instead of a Canadian bringing stuff over. So that didn't happen. I guess I have to figure out what to do with those USBs. Actually, I do have plans for an additional episode of Coco Forever to add on to it, so we can look at that. You know,
kind of get everything straightened out for next
Yeah.
year so that it's ready to cross without problems.
Yeah. And you know, there's just another thing about the fest. I remember in previous fests we'd had some trivia contests. Those seemed to be well attended, and it created a much sort of a bigger community atmosphere. Auctions do that too, but I was feeling like I kind of missed a bit of that this year, and I was wishing we had more like that. And I had this idea, and I just want to see what you guys think of this, about actually having a basic programming contest we would run at the fest. And this is why I was asking earlier about, you know, can we get, you know, multiple screens up where we could have people come in with their emulators. We give them a time limit, a problem. You could have, and you would get points for your solution. So you would, the first one to get a complete solution would get so many points. The person who had the fastest running code would get certain points. The one who used the least number of bytes would get. So, you know, there'd be these different that would accommodate different styles of programming. And then I think it'd be fun for, you know, I don't know what you guys think, but I was thinking it'd be kind of cool to be able to put it on the screen and watch people, you know, coding.
Kind of like we watch Rick
2 o'clock.
coding.
Yeah, coding 2 o'clock, right? It's like, and you know, I can imagine Stevie doing some running commentary. Oh, here we got Rick Adams coming up on the side on the optimization front. Looks like he's going for the 50 points there, and you know, Paul Thayer over here is going for speed. Obviously, we're you know, blah, blah. I don't know. I think it'd be fun. It might be a little tricky technology wise, but we
I
can
mean, if you
figure
do the
that out,
multi-screen
right?
thing, you theoretically could even have people that can't attend the fest join in remotely and join in as well.
You could, but then I don't know. Could be some monkey business going on. We have to get some lawyerly talk on how to.
But we
keep that
have
straight.
people we can contact now, so that should.
Yeah, that's true.
My only disappointment with that idea is that you already nixed Basic 09 programming from being part of it.
Well, we could have a basic 09 programming contest.
I think it would have to be separate.
Would
'Cause,
anybody enter?
optimizing it, that you definitely would win if you're doing it there. So,
and I also wonder about a handicap. Like maybe, you know, if you got someone who's actually, you know, commercially released something, maybe they should get a handicap on the points. So you can still get someone who's, you know,
yeah, because you want to
a bit of a
encourage
newbie.
people, you know, they're beginning and just kind of learning too, or maybe have
Yeah.
two different divisions or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, something. I don't know. But I don't know. Any thoughts on that? I don't know.
I think it's a good idea. I've seen some other conventions do that kind of thing before,
Okay.
where they have like a rush thing. Even modern ones will sometimes have this, you know, panic thing. You got 1 hour to try to solve this problem type thing. I'm not very good at them because I suck under pressure. But
I was thinking something really short, like you've got 15 minutes, 10 minutes to solve it. You know, like really short, simple, boom, 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 that kind of stuff. So you could actually get through a few. You know, otherwise people will just be like going to a baseball game, which some people love to do, but you could sit around for hours, right? So make it like
Yeah.
speed chess, I guess, or something. Anyway,
I think
that
it's
was
a
just
good
an
idea.
idea I had for next time.
yeah, I think it's a good idea. What do you guys think? Everybody else on the panel.
Something could be done there. I like it.
Would anybody want to try it? I just think you could do teams, like, you know, up to maybe 3 people potentially.
Yeah, that honestly, when I've been to the ones for bigger programming, like more modern stuff, there, that's what they usually do. You do a team of like 2 to 4, maybe 5 or 6 in some cases, where you kind of work together and you have people that are strong at creating stuff and strong at the programming side or the algorithm side. They can kind of combine. Somebody does a nice presentation so it looks nice type thing. I got to know what kind of program you're talking about, like just a standard quick print basic program, or do you want graphic stuff, or do you want sound stuff, or what exactly you're planning on?
I was thinking it'd be fun to do something that was just like Coco Extended Color Basic. Like, here's a picture of the screen. Make it look like this. You know, draw a white X on the screen, and I don't know, just something real quick, fast, simple, that you could measure by speed and by bytes. You know, you know, like just some real simple stuff. Maybe something a little more complex. Maybe some basic.
Yeah,
math.
Robert
I
Allen
don't know.
Murphy actually kind of mentioned something I've seen before too. You could work like how the demo scene get-togethers work, music, art, code, teams, etc. That you can kind of combine the talents and.
Yeah,
and you also mentioned like a 4K contest, 16K contest, depending. I mean, 16K would probably be a bit of a bigger, longer one if you want to keep it short.
Yeah. I think that. Well, yeah, I think I mean, you could have longer ones if there's an appetite for it. I think there might be a better appetite the first time for real short, snappy ones. But and this would take, this might take essentially take a slot or 1 or 2 presenter slots potentially on the schedule.
Like a seminar slot type thing.
Yeah. So anyway, just to throw it there, see what folks think about that idea, because I think it'd be fun. I'm not sure that I would want to enter it myself, but I could maybe help put it together or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's definitely worth at least trying. We'll see how it works, and if you or somebody
potentially
else wants
try
to come
it
up with topics of what to program, like what would
Yeah.
be a good one to do a quick
We
program
could
on.
use we could even do this try a virtual run of it.
Yeah,
like on
we could
CoCoTALk or
you
something.
could do or one of our
whatever.
off
special shows.
Yeah, one of our special live streams there type thing. Sloopy
Yeah.
can host it because he would just love that, I'm sure.
See, Sloopy saying,
He's
"Can I
holding
choose
his
the
head in
basic-
agony already.
Can I choose the basic I use?" Well, yeah. We'd have to. I think
You'd have to keep them separate, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, the
yeah.
programming between Basic 9 and Basic is quite different. So
Yeah.
I was
Can-
thinking
can
more
be.
along. I was thinking more along the lines of Atari Basic.
Poke. There you go. Done.
Not a CoCoFEST, no. Anyway, yeah, we had a good time, and hope to fly back the next time. So I'll see if I can get my tree poster.
You didn't want to hitch a ride with me and
somehow.
Ken next time or anything? Or?
That just sounds insane. Sorry. Unless you do rent some sort of tour bus or something. Yeah. Anyway, that's me.
Cool. And thanks for singing the anthem so well, as usual.
My pleasure. Glad it worked out.
And I noticed you didn't have time to learn. Was it the Colombian one we did on Sunday that Brian Schubring did the MIDI version of?
Yeah. That was just kind of like Colombian. Sorry, no, I don't know that one. Well, they got scared that they were going to get forced to come up and do it. Like, no. So,
yeah, I saw that. They were singing along, mouthing the words to it when it was on. So
yeah,
it's
I
nice
thought
we
it
have an
was
international flavor.
Yeah, and I think it was pretty good. I think a good number of people did sing along. So so that was good.
I mostly mouthed because I suck at singing, so I was trying to make sure people did not hear me.
Okay. You're not excused, but whatever.
I'll have to admit, as an American, I think I almost have the Canadian anthem down now.
Good for you, Mark. Woo.
Yeah. Just watch more hockey, you'll get used to it.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
So there, I wanted to get
Great, thank you.
done there because I know you got to leave here.
That's right. I do actually. I have to run. Thanks all.
All right. Well, thanks for coming out to the fest, and thanks for being on the show today.
Have a good one.
Okay. So, Mark, do you want to do a quick little commercial break type thing, and then we'll come back and talk to the other people that were at the fest and see what they thought, and then we'll also talk to the people that watched it remotely. How did that go? Right after these messages.
Come on, do it.
Really?
Yes, really.
Here, let's go back over to here. Push.
Come on, do it.
Really?
Yes, really. CoCoTALK would like to thank the patrons who sponsor our program, so our heartfelt gratitude goes out to Alan Huffman, Alan Murphy, Blair Ledoux, Boat and Aaron, Brendan Donahue, Brian Weasler, Brian Walsh, Karen Anscombe, D. Bruce Moore, Daddy Burrito, Daniel Williams, Diego, Eric Canales, Glenn Hewlett, Graham Vebke, Grant B., Grant Leedy, Henry Strickland, Jason Downs, Jay Style, Ken Reichert, Malfunct, Melly, Michael Pitsley, Mike Rayburn, OG Hugo, Paul Fiscarelli, Paul Shoemaker, Paul Thayer, Retro Tech Time, Rick Hewlin, Rob Inman, Rocky Hill, Stephen Wagner, Steve Batson, Steve Rasmussen, Terry Steen, Terry Steggy, The Backyard Shed Gang, Tim Thayer, Tom C., Tom Gunderson, Tom Heron, Tom S., Tony C., and William Athing. Thank you ever so much, patrons.
We'll return after these announcements.
Hi, I'm Bruce Moore, and this is Jacob Moore. Gotcha. And we are the Forest of Doom guys, and the Coco Forever guys, and we are at CoCoFEST, and we love Stevie Stroh.
Only the bravest souls enter. Only the most cunning return. Defeat innumerable monsters to ransom the king's scepter, stolen by the evil wizard. Your sword, shield, and wits are your only allies. Pray you find a magical inn as your only respite in the forest of doom.
For the tiny color computer 1, 2, and 3.
November 2017, if you dare.
What's going on, everybody? Stevie Stroh, and I want to say thank you for continuing to watch and listen to Coco Talk. We love doing this show. We think we've put together a pretty good show for you, but this show could be better with your help. So if you would like to send a feedback, a comment, a suggestion, a show topic, or maybe even your own little segment or bumper, then send it to us via email to cocotalk@cocotalk.live. This show would be nothing without you. Love to hear from you.
What if, knowing what I know now, I could go back in time, join Tandy Corporation, and change the course of history? Coco forever.
How does it feel? I'm still believing.
Radio Shack has a great gift idea for the whole family. Fast action TV games, and they're on sale. Get this 6-game model for $29.95 or the 4-game model for $21.95. With rising entertainment costs, that's a real bargain. You play hockey, tennis, squash, and more. Easy to hook up and great family fun that lasts all year long. The sale price TV games. Only at Radio Shack, a Tandy company.
Hi, this is Eddie Zerbinsky from beautiful Quebec City. Vous écoutez CoCoTALK.
And we're back.
Welcome back, everyone. So now we'll get some opinions and what people thought of the show from other people that were at the show that are on the panel right now, and also anybody in the chat if you want to come, chime in with some thoughts that you had on the show, maybe some stuff you saw that was really cool, pretty cool stuff you picked up or bought at the show, got previewed at the show, etc. So I don't know if we just kind of go around the table here, and for the people that were there, what was your highlights of the show? I'll go first just to start it off so you guys can think of something. So the first thing, of course, was that Taylor and Amy showed up completely by surprise. And then not too long after that, Stevie showed up, which was a bit of a surprise with purple hair, which was definitely a surprise. The fact the attendance on the first day broke 100 right off the bat, because I know because of COVID from last year and stuff, last couple of years, that I wasn't sure how many people would be comfortable enough coming out type thing. Plus just basically seeing everybody, getting to talk to Brendan about some possibilities. I was talking with him about doing some updates tonight on level 1 for the Coco VGA. For Rick Yolen for getting me the keyboard, which I'll be installing later this week. Fix up one of my old Coco 3 keyboards. Ken for helping out with the Nitrosine seminar and help, doing the table. All the new stuff showing, like Bruce's stuff. John Strong's Dr. Coco, his Dr. Miracle, is actually coming along quite well from when I last saw it. So that looks really good. There's just tons of stuff. But I guess the biggest thing for me is that it was fun. It was probably the funnest fest I've been to since the first time I started coming back to them a few years back. And there was no underlying drama. It was just all fun. And that was the biggest thing for me. Is like, everybody was so happy to be out of pandemic and actually having everybody be able to come down, including us Canucks, that it just was an all around great feeling of happiness and joy. That was the biggest thing for me.
Wasn't the same 6 months ago without all the Canadians. Seriously, it was really depressing. You were missed.
Well, thank you.
The music wasn't as good back in November.
What's that? What was that?
The music wasn't as good back in November.
Yeah, well, I promised to actually practice this time because I didn't this last time. Normally, I try to get a couple songs kind of down before I go, even if nobody else knows them. But in this case, I was planning on doing that. Then work, I made the stupid thing of telling, my clients that several weeks early that I was going to be leaving. So if you have a job or two, because we're not that busy yet, and not everything's come back from the pandemic. And of course, I got swamped. I was working weekends and the whole bit, so that was dumb.
I pre-announced the Curtis shortage, so
I'll pre-announce a week ahead now. That get it in. So,
was it established what next year's date is?
I know they had a tentative one. I think it's the end of April, wasn't it? That they have tentatively booked. I was hoping Grant was going to be here to see if that's official yet, or if that was still tentative.
Yeah, but it's all still vaguely because I believe management changed 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
I thought 3 weeks ago. So everything's kind of.
Yeah, they kind of like pre-marked it in the calendar for them that we would like this date, but I think like you said, due to new management, costs, etc., like what's changing. I think they'd have to kind of wait till that's finalized. But last I heard, they were shooting for the end of April.
Yeah, that's what I'd heard. I didn't have actual dates.
So we'll keep you posted once they find out themselves, because of the new management, the hotel that it's not cemented yet.
Well, that way I can update the ticker and update the little slide thingy up on top. And
April 22, 23.
Is that official, Jim? Is that like locked in at this point, or is it still somewhat at the air? That was a text message from Jim Brain, our president of Glenside. So while we're waiting for Jim to respond to that, so the next person I see on the screen on my little thing at the top there, Mark Bosley, what was your impressions of the fest and what was your favorite parts and etc.?
It was fun, busy, fun.
Anything really stand out to you?
Well, doing the auction was pretty good. Didn't get a lot of sleep.
I think we can all agree that we all had that issue.
So yeah, Saturday night was a blast. So,
Jim just confirmed that date has been held for us, so that is official. April 22nd, 23rd, 2023 is the next Chicago CoCoFest, the 31st, I guess, or whatever we're at now.
Okay.
So book now, or at least set aside on the calendar. There are no excuses this time.
So no, I didn't buy anything this time.
Ooh.
I mean to, but no, I didn't.
Okay, next I see up is Rick Ewan. So you were actually a vendor, and I bought your keyboard replacement thing. So how was it for you, and how were like sales and interest in your products? Like you were showing off some of the keyboard stuff. You were showing off the network card and actually logging in. Now, one thing I will mention, a bunch of us had some weird issues with Coco's acting really strange, which we think was power. Because I was having it so that if I mounted my SDC, the second hard drive image wouldn't mount properly and scramble and all kinds of weird stuff. I know Mark Millett had problems, Bruce Moore had problems, Rick Ewan had problems, Ken and I both had problems. We think it was either maybe some equipment that was plugged in was making the lines dirty, or maybe there was some power issues. So hopefully I'll see if I can grab a UPS for mine next year, but hopefully we can get that kind of resolved for this upcoming year. Because once I went to Boat and Aaron's place, everything ran perfect. They didn't have a single issue.
I mean, it couldn't be that we had 12 tables on one extension cord running across the place.
Yeah. I think in November we had that weird. It was like a breaker box from a house with a handle on it, and it was plugged into the wall that everyone ran into, and that actually seemed to work better. I don't know. It was pretty funny.
Was that not available for? I mean, did you guys not see that at the show last week?
I think nobody thought of to even ask them if they had a spider box.
because you have to have that. Otherwise, there's not enough power. I just joined via Zoom. I was listening on YouTube, but what was the issue? Power went out on some of the stuff.
It just made things flaky. Like weird stuff was happening. You'd boot the same program twice, it would run once and then crash the other time. Like it was.
Yeah. The spider box, it's probably because the management changed just 2 weeks ago. So they probably didn't remember, but you got to have the box. So I guess next fest, whoever doesn't see the box, holler and they'll bring out the box because you got to have it.
Okay. So yeah, we just scrounged up whatever extension cords we could find and ran those around.
Yep. And some people had stable systems. I think it depended where in the room we were. And then other people, there was like a whole wall of us that were having weird issues.
I think in general, you should probably, for any show, power is probably pretty iffy. As far as stable, non-spike power. So you're probably better off if you have some sort of conditioning on your end. Just anyway, like maybe a UPS or something, if you can bring it, just because.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to try to get a small UPS. My main one I can't bring with me because that's keeping my server for work running while I'm gone, but I'll see if I can pick up the small one.
I saw a little one here at Dayton. You could grab. You're a little ways away from it, but it's a little 500 APC 500. So you could put it in your bag.
Grant Leedy's saying in the chat here too. He said Jason informed me if someone was soldering it would cause issues, and there was live soldering going on. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it. I know some of the guitar amps were actually plugged in during the main part of the show, like not during the after hours thing. And there was some talk that maybe those were drawing a bit too much power too, or something.
Can you imagine how much power we actually draw? It's not like there was any kind of energy efficiency ratings in the 80s, right?
Well, that's why we all upgraded to static RAM, because that takes a little less power than 639. See, there's a reason everybody should upgrade to 639. Draws less power. We can solve this problem.
Well, no, because we all still use linear regulators, so we just burn it up as heat.
Well, it wasn't like that every,
no, not everybody had that problem.
It's not like everybody was on one outlet either. So we did break it up a little bit.
Yeah, and not everybody was having problems. Some people had no problems at all, but there was a group of us that was having numerous weird stuff happening.
It wasn't.
It was predictable. Like once we moved it away, like if we took it back to a room or moved it to the seminar thing, then it worked fine, type thing. So it was definitely something within the main
probably noise and something in the lines.
Yeah, that's what some people were speculating. The guitar amps might have been doing that.
Although wasn't a fan of that dance floor in the middle.
No, that was pretty nasty. It almost got me a couple times.
Yeah, I just about wiped out a few times too. Anyway, Rick, sorry, we forgot to ask you about your general opinion of the show that we're kind of sidetracked.
I'm going to agree with Tim Franklin. We can blame it on Steve's hair because my monitor turned purple too. On my demo
he even blew out his own camera there. It was all doing all the blue lighting instead of
camera
light
turned blue. Everything just was going purple there at the end. Yeah, the fest was a blur. Between trying to hawk my stuff and pay attention to what everyone else was doing, I went into complete brain overload. I had to write everything down in a notebook, which I lost.
God.
So I've been watching videos to write down everything I remember based on what I see in the videos. And okay, that was about the time he told me this. So, and I left a stool either in my room or in the notebook sitting with a wood bar stool somewhere. So here's my new friend Carson. Carson has a swivelly padded base, unless the old wood bar stool. So I'm glad to meet him. But geez, yeah, if I agree to do something and I don't do it, send me an email because I forgot to write it down or wrote it down.
You left your brains in Chicago.
Oh yeah, I really need we need to double up, like alternate hours. Your booth is closed and you get to go talk to people, and that way I can depressurize somehow. I don't know. So anyway, it was a great fest. I hope next year I'll be in better practice. And
yeah, we'll work on that. We'll kind of pre-plan everything. Jim Brain, actually, I wanted to ask you one other question before we go on to the next person that was actually at the fest. Of course, you weren't able to make it because of COVID, but hopefully your family and you are all doing well.
Getting better.
Cool.
What's the question?
The attendance, because I know the attendance on Saturday was listed as 112, and I do know like a few of us vendors had noticed there were some new faces wandering around on Sunday that weren't there on Saturday. but
Yep.
it sounds like they didn't count them or something.
Well, I don't, they didn't, I mean, some of those people were pre-registers, and so they may not have come on Saturday. But no, I mean, I did not get any numbers for Sunday that were different. So I think, there weren't any more people in Sunday as Saturday, but you're right. There are a few different people that could only come, like Salvador could only be on a Saturday, and there was probably somebody that was like him but only could come on Sunday.
Okay.
And I can check. I can ask Rich, but I asked them if we could please at least get a number for the end of Saturday, because everybody asks at the end of the day, like, well, what was attendance? And so they probably took it literally, like, okay, Jim wants Saturday numbers, so let's make sure we get Saturday. And then didn't really pay attention to Sunday numbers. But I'll see. But quite frankly, if I can get Saturday numbers, and I never get Sunday numbers, I'll still consider that good enough, because
the majority of people have been there Saturday. So
that's right. So, but yeah, I mean, I know there was a couple people that showed up on Sunday that weren't able to be there on Saturday, or didn't know about it until Saturday and decided to show up on Sunday. So, kudos for them, and I'm glad they were able to show, but I don't have a number for that.
Okay. No, I was just curious. So since you were here, I thought I'd ask.
Yep. And so hopefully you saw on the chat is delayed quite a bit, but we are, we talked to Grant, and I talked to Valerie, the lady that does the bookings for the for the venue, and we talked to her on, I don't know, it was Sunday or something, and they're wanting a little bit more time to go and get the contract ready. They didn't want to sign it on Sunday. We were ready to sign it, but they didn't want to sign it because they needed to verify all the numbers and everything. And so I said, okay, fine. I mean, that's okay, but I don't want to lose the date, because we've purposely picked the 22nd and 23rd or whatever that weekend is. So, what do we do to make sure we can hold on to that date? And she said, I'll lock the date in for you, and then we can work on the contract in the next few weeks. So hopefully, let's see, it's been a week, and I think they'd asked for 2 weeks. So hopefully by the end of next week, we'll have a contract to look over. And I do think the prices are going to go up a little bit. So this year, the total was like $3,500 for the venue all in. And so it may be around that. It may be around $4,000 next year, just because of price increases and whatnot. So we'll just have to keep that in mind. One of the things I did want to point out, I hadn't posted about it, but just so people are aware, you all drank a boatload of coffee, and I did not plan on that.
Just to be expected, I would think.
Well, it may be, but coffee's $38 a gallon. So, and you guys drank like, what was it? 14 gallons of coffee in 2 days. And so when they brought the bill, Grant sent me a text, and he's like, and there's $1,000 worth of drink. And I said, what? And he said, yeah, it's $1,000 worth of coffee and tea and whatever. And tea wasn't that much. And the hot cocoa was only like $150, but the coffee was like $500 and some dollars. And I said, well, I think we're going to have to think about that, because I'm happy to put a coffee pot there, but y'all are thirsty, and that's a lot of money.
14 gallons.
So I'm not sure I'm going to fork over $1,000 for coffee. As it was, we went back and we said, listen, it really wasn't part of the contract, and we're willing to pay some of it, but that's a little pricey for coffee. So they adjusted that down and took most of it off. So we didn't have to pay for most of it. But I have a feeling it'll be in the contract for next year. And if that's what they're going to charge for coffee, then I'll either have to say, hey, get in early and we're going to have like 5 gallons of coffee and that's it. Or, you know what, there's a Starbucks or a McDonald's down the street. Go get your own coffee. I don't know.
Is there another option possibly is maybe you have a little, jar that people can throw like 50 cents.
And that was another idea. I thought about that too. Sorry. Yes. Is to say, okay, we'll do coffee and we'll let everybody drink what they want. But, if you could put $1 in the kitty for coffee, so we don't have to get, I know coffee is awesome and some people just can't get going in the morning without it. So fair enough. but it's not, conference room coffee is expensive. It's always been expensive. So you're paying a premium, and it's not premium coffee as far as I can tell. So we need to kind of manage that.
Like at the previous one, the previous venue, where did you guys get the coffee? Because they usually brought it in. Like they didn't have a coffee service there, I don't believe.
That's true. And what Tony told me is that, they'd asked if the venue could provide coffee here in Point, and they charged, incredibly large amount of money. And so Tony said, well, Chris Hawk's wife and Linda would just go to like Dunkin' Donuts and pick up some of those little cardboard boxes of coffee and whatnot, which worked fine. And Heron Point evidently didn't care. But the way this venue is really outside food and drink is really not allowed.
Okay.
And so that's not really an option to pursue. I mean, you individually, people can bring in drinks if they want within reason. Like if you showed up with a cup of coffee, then, they're not going to get all upset about it. But I wouldn't be able to bring like a big Dunkin' Donuts, box of Joe or whatever they call that thing and put it there. That would not fly.
Yeah, because I mean, myself personally, I'd be okay with like the tip jar, or even just make it so you have to put in 50 cents every cup you get, whatever type thing. I'd be fine with that.
Yeah, I have a feeling
rather than having to drive off, to find something, and I'm not paying Starbucks prices for coffee, so
There is
I
a
can buy
7-Eleven
hardware for those prices.
I mean, there's a 7-Eleven very close by, so
yeah. No,
Just out the back door.
Yeah,
I like the idea of the tip jar. It's just I was not expecting $1,000 of drinks. That was a lot of money. So we had to kind of work on that.
Well, if you guys still had Jolt Cola, I would have substituted that instead if that was cheaper. But
yeah, you have to talk to Alan Huffman about that.
Cool. Okay, well, thanks a lot for popping on, Jim, and letting us know about the date and what's happening and about the coffee, because we'll definitely have to worry about that next year. I'm fully willing to pay a little bit extra for that myself. So I did consume a lot. Probably like one of those 14 gallons was me. On Saturday.
That's just a lot of coffee. I mean, 14 gallons of coffee. You guys are big coffee drinkers. It's nuts.
I have to say, like, even at work back in the old days when I worked 16 to 18-hour shifts, I would go through 2 pots by myself.
14 gallons, that's a typical Tuesday for Missy.
You all have problems. You need to get somebody to look into that.
It's not even a gallon an hour.
I brought my own coffee.
I did not consume any coffee.
I brought my own.
Anyway, thanks, Jim, for the updates and stuff too, and glad you and the family are feeling better. We missed you at the show.
I miss being there. As I told Tony, I felt really bad for my daughter because we were, I wasn't feeling good early in the week, but I thought I had recovered. And then it was Thursday, and I said, okay, we're good. We're going to leave Thursday night to come out. And then my wife called and said, hey, I took a COVID test and I'm positive. And we were together not too many days ago because she was on the road. She said, you probably should take it. But by that time, my daughter had fixed the pans of brownies, and she had the cookies in the oven. And so it was really a bummer that, because she was really she really enjoys going and she enjoys seeing all of you. And so I know that was kind of a bummer for her. So, but maybe next time.
Yeah. Also, Tim Franklin suggested in the chat here too, you could charge rent to use the bathroom. So all the coffee drinkers are using the bathroom quite often. You could cover the cost that way, like the pay toilets from UK.
There you go.
I like
Charge
that. Thinking out the box. I like that.
Okay, well, I'm going to go on from Rick, and I don't know who's bounced out, but Sloopy, you were there. So what was your opinion of the show? You've actually been to them before.
Yeah, I've been to one CoCoFEST before.
So how was this compared to that one? Because I was a bit more limited. Like none of us Canucks can make it. It was kind of at the tail end of COVID restrictions and stuff. So
at least this time I didn't offend the entire Canadian nation, so that's good. But yeah, it was excuse me, it was wonderful meeting all of you. You Ken, Bruce. It seemed to have a little bit of different vibe than back in November, but it was quite enjoyable. I mean, I've been to VCF Midwest, VCF East many times before, so it had a lot of elements of that, but a little bit more camaraderie between the people, because at VCF you have the different factions of the various machines. You got the big iron people, you've got the micros, people that are into any micros, and then people that are into specific micros like the Apple, Commodore, and Atari.
Yeah.
Right. And this, it's like everyone is focused on a single platform. So there's a lot more intermingling and talking and discussion. And it was quite interesting. And I wish I'd gotten to see more of the talks, but unfortunately that wasn't to be. But I was able to catch them on the on YouTube, which is good. And I think that there's like way too much to all take in at once, and having it on YouTube to be able to catch the parts that you missed is great. And as I think it was Ken was talking about how the height of different people is different. I also noticed that seeing different people in person as opposed to seeing them on video is a rather interesting thing also.
I have to agree with you on the seminars being recorded, because I mean, I was busier at the booth answering questions stuff. I didn't get a chance to attend any of the seminars, and usually I used to try to catch a couple in person, but the seminar was starting, somebody would be busy, asking for a demo or asking questions, so I never got to. So it was critical for me. I actually went back, after I got back here on Wednesday night, and actually went and watched over 2 days all the seminars. So that's definitely critical. I agree.
Yeah, because I definitely wanted to catch Paul Thayer's seminar, but I wasn't able to. But I was able to see it on YouTube, which was nice. Literally it was a great time. The only thing that I would really consider a con or negative is the same thing as back in November, is that it seems that on Sunday, although the show ends at 3:00, it seems to break down between 11 and 1 with people wanting to leave and such. And,
yeah, they have long drives and stuff. Yeah.
And I see that someone was talking about how they should extend it so that it's a full day Sunday, and then at the end is on Monday, so that it's like a full weekend thing. Because I mean, if this was like a monthly thing or more often, I mean, I could understand it being just like a day and a half. But considering it's a yearly event where people are actually driving anywhere from hundreds to tens of thousands of miles, tens of thousands of kilometers to get there, it should be a little bit longer. I think it was Marco that was talking about how the Apple Fest in Kansas, I think it is Kansas Fest or something, is like a week-long event.
6 days.
6 days. And I think that it would probably be a benefit if we could make it more like that, not necessarily 6 days, because we don't have the draw of people that they do. Maybe 2 or 3 days would be a better thing, so that you have more time to talk to people, interact with people, see the things, and do demos and such.
Yeah, I agree. There was some talk about maybe extending it like a Friday, like making it officially part of the show rather than just set up. Yep. And I also talk about extending it on Sunday. I agree. It should be a little bit longer. I'm not sure which side it should be on, which is easier for people with work schedules and stuff. If it's better to, get there halfway through Fridays at noon, or if it'd be better to extend it on Sunday.
Yeah, I think it would probably be better to extend it, like have it like Friday, Saturday, and then half day Sunday, because most people don't want to take off 2 different weeks. And if you have it like extending earlier into the week, then they would only have to take off earlier take off 1 week and maybe a day of the next week or something.
Yeah. So I think it's something we'll have to discuss, but we do need to extend it. Yes. I think it's something we all agree on, that we should give it some extra time.
I say we take a vote on it while Grant's not here, so that he can't veto it.
There is kind of a natural demarcation there. The people that are really, really into it will be there maybe on Friday, whereas just general public Saturday.
Right.
So I would go an extra day.
Yeah,
I get the weekend somehow and see more, do more.
Sloopy, I am here, by the way, just to let you know.
Oh, darn. I've been busted.
We'll get to you later, Grant. You came in late, so you don't count for a while yet. Next up, Mr. David Ladd. Or is he having a sneeze fest at the moment here?
Hold on. I'm here. I think.
Yeah.
Am I?
There you are.
Okay.
There you are.
He's allergic to my BS.
Sorry.
Yeah.
We had to mute
Yeah. It's getting deep in here. I enjoyed myself. Trust me. I really needed the vacation. Even though that many people go, you don't work. How do you need a vacation? You need a vacation from your day-to-day life sometime.
Agreed.
But yeah, it's I had fun. It was great to see people in person because especially with COVID the last 2 years, not going anywhere, it wears on you.
Yep.
So it was great to get out. I was trying to get Boat and John to show up, but they said it's 8-hour drive. And I'm sitting here going,
they're such wimps. I mean, geez.
Yeah, it's like it was 8.5 for me. It's like, geez. And it was how many hours for you? 40. So it's like, geez, grow a pair.
I'm going to really slam it into them at Boat Fest. I'm going to try to convince them to come out next year. I'm going to actually publicly ridicule them on their own show, basically. So we'll see what I can do there.
But yeah, I didn't really bring anything with me. I know Terry Steen was like, did you bring your grease weasel with you so we could see if we could recover some floppies? I'm like, no, I didn't. Because to give you an idea, my car was loaded down with CDI development machines to the point where my car was sagging in the back driving to CoCoFEST. Eric Canellis had to deal with that after that. No, it was like that bad.
But that means you had a lot of room left to get stuff on the way back, right?
Strangely enough, I got worse gas mileage going home than I did going to the fest.
Actually, we hit that too, though, but we had a strong headwind the entire way back. Like my kilometers per liter fell from like 16 point some down to 13.9 on the way back. And normally it's better than going that direction, but it was, 30 to 50 mile an hour winds right in your face the entire way. So
yeah.
On the way home, I was ready for a big snowstorm. I had plenty of weight in the back of the car.
I'm not going to comment on what from.
The hernia makers I gave them.
Jason Record, are you there? Because I know you're kind of on the road and stuff here, so I don't want to waste your time too much. Or you're parked.
I'm parked. I've made it back to the hotel. It started to rain in Hambench, and it looked like it was a nasty storm brewing. So we opted to head back to the hotel and get cleaned up and for dinner later with some folks. But it was I'd say it's the best CoCoFest I've ever been to, and I've only been to 4 of them. But I had a great time. Got to talk to a lot of people. Sold some stuff. Even beyond just selling the stuff, it was great to just be able to interact with the people that enjoy the things that I've made. So that was really, really fun. And then I think my highlight, and I have video of this, and I haven't done anything with it yet, but David Ladd autographed two floppy disks for.
Oh God!
Oh my God! Those are worth gold now.
I know. Stevie has one, and the other one I have to give to Sarah. She's going to frame it.
Oh geez.
But actually, yes, I had to go across the way to Office Depot and get a silver Sharpie because I forgot to bring one, and got to play Frogger going across the road there with Taylor and Amy going over to the office store. So good times. I had a blast, and I can't wait to do it again. And was glad to be able to come down this time because it's a big improvement. But I knew the other one would be, the last one was going to be like just due to all the unpleasantness. But I had a great time. I didn't get to see a lot of the presentations, but those are out there on YouTube. I popped in from time to time. So I had a great time. And other than the fire alarm going off Sunday evening, it was great.
Well, it's not a CoCoFest without the fire department.
Right. Our
I think
elevator
something
doesn't
happened
go
with
all
one of
the
the
way.
elevators.
Yeah, our
I-
elevator
I-
doesn't go all the way to the top.
Grant, what did you do? Because I wasn't there.
I had nothing to do with it. I blame it on Curtis.
I was, but by that time that happened, I was probably halfway between Pennsylvania and West Virginia, so I definitely didn't have anything to do with it.
There was just smoke.
Yeah, there was. It's a burnt hydraulic smell or something, but
Right.
I
And
guess it wasn't too serious. I didn't have to leave the building or anything.
Did anyone smell the hydraulic fluid in the second elevator?
That's the one that had the problem.
Ah.
Yeah, it was the
Probably-
one halfway down.
Yeah, Ken was mentioning he smelled that too.
Yeah, every time I got in it, I had to hear it. Not naming anyone's names, but her initials are Missy.
Well, since Grant
Those
was
aren't
kind of in,
initials.
sorry, good.
Those aren't initials. That's all.
And since Grant's here, finally, even though he's one of the people that organized the fest and he shows up late, but what was your opinion of the show as both an attendee and also the person organizing? Did things go according to plan? Did you see some things you can improve? Because this is your first year actually kind of being in charge of it, right?
Yeah, it is. I think everything went as planned and probably even better, especially since they changed the management company. So basically, I had to go back and redo everything in 2 weeks that was planned for 5 months. But luckily, the hotel did a great job on the convention side of things, and the dinner went very well. Did you guys enjoy the dinner?
Yeah, I quite
Yeah, it
enjoyed
was good.
All right, great. But so the dinner was awesome, and we did get the buffet for the Sunday and Monday. So that's something that they are going to definitely do for next year. But overall, the show went better than I thought because I was expecting, 112 people on Saturday alone. So that was kind of surprising. But the presentations went great. Everybody seemed to have a great time. So I guess I'm not fired as of right now. So.
Now, are we planning next year? Like this is also the first year we experimented with no admittance fee to get in as just an attendee. I mean, the table vendors obviously had to pay for the tables. Is that something you're planning on doing again next year as well? And did it have an effect? Did it bring in some people that might not have otherwise come locally, like that normally attend BCF or something, but don't ever come to CoCoFest?
Yeah, I will definitely work with Jim Brain on that. But me personally, I think that yes, this did help out because we did have people come in on Saturday morning from the local area who actually purchased tables the day of and sold stuff, and then after they sold everything, then they left. But yeah, so we actually made some additional revenue on that, so which was good. So
it's worth pursuing that same model again next year, and we'll see after a couple of years if it kind of dies out or not. But
exactly. And I was also talking with Jason Timmons. We're also going to try to do some advertising at the VCF Midwest to get those folks who are interested in retro computing to find out about CoCoFest, and hopefully even more of them will attend next year. So that's just a couple of ideas.
Yeah, one thing I would suggest, if Stevie can make a playlist of all the video that was shot at the fest this year, the seminars, the general walk around the tables, et cetera, maybe some other third-party ones, like I know Ken and a few others did some blogs, and Taylor and Amy did too, is to have a playlist of links of all of those and maybe hand out a card or QR code or something at VCF that directs you to that so they can kind of check out what the show's like, what's involved, what happens at it type thing. And hopefully that will encourage them to come out to the CoCoFest next year.
Cool. Yeah, and I think we're planning on having a table too next year. And Eric Canales is also talking about doing a sponsorship with VCF Midwest as well. So let me ask you guys a question. What do you guys see that we can improve on? I did like the idea of D. Bruce Moore's idea. I think that's something I'll work with him on next year. And back to Sloopy's question about maybe extending it. That has been brought up to me several times that maybe we should go to the attendee assembly method where they do the presentations on Friday. Therefore, everything's pretty much opened up on Saturday and Sunday. So that's an idea that's been floating around. But anything else that you guys like to see improved or changed or additional ideas?
I think additional time. I'm not sure about putting the presentations on Friday because some of the locals that aren't going to take extra time off would then miss them entirely if that's the only day you're doing. If you're putting some on Friday, some on Saturday, some on Sunday, that's a different story. But personally,
yeah, it'll be over all 3 days is what I would plan on doing. But I know Tandy Assembly does a lot more high-tech seminars on Friday. They're tech, what they call it, Tandy Tech Track, or what they call it.
Yeah, where they really get into the innards, where that's only specialized people would probably attend because it's really high level stuff.
Exactly. That's something to kick around and think about. Anything else that you guys want to see changed or improved on?
Well, I think that the experiment of having free admission, actually, if it did bring people in, then that was worth it right there. Because, obviously you guys didn't lose any money on the show. The coffee thing, like I said, putting in a donation thing, because it was expensive. And I'm not drinking coffee, sorry.
I will have to admit that when I saw the bill, and the bill was actually like $1,500 for all the drinks, and I'm like, I'm gonna get right back to you. And I went back upstairs and talked to Jim Brain about that, and he was like, "What?" So luckily they were good and nice enough. We were able to negotiate that price down quite a little bit. But yeah, something we definitely need to think about though for next year. But I think Curtis is probably the one who drank the most coffee, so he should pay the most next year.
Like I said, I'd be willing to pop in some money into a little cup there per cup just to keep it down to a tolerable level.
I say just grab grab 2 kegs and be done with it.
But I mean, the other option of me going to a Starbucks, I mean, for one Starbucks coffee, I could buy a CoCoSDC. So no, thank you. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll join the vendor coffee club.
I mean, if worst comes to worst, we might just do it in the mornings, so that's probably when most people drink coffee and maybe not have it throughout the day. I mean, there's things I'll work with Jim Brain on and see if we can get that ironed out. And who knows, maybe with these with the new contracts that we'll be negotiating here next week or two, we can negotiate something with the coffee as well. So,
yeah, like even if they allow you to bring in third party just coffee, like we'll still do the food and stuff through them type thing. Like if that's something that they're not willing to entertain.
Oh, is Jim Brain still on the call? I didn't know. I'm sorry.
Is he?
That's okay. I'm here. You sounded like you were speaking to me in third person, like I'd passed away or something.
I'm sorry.
And
I don't know. You could be exaggerated.
Yeah.
I was walking around trying to find Jason, but now he's back at the hotel. So much for that.
Well, I didn't know you were going to be there.
Well, I obviously didn't know I was going to be here either, but I got my negative test. So I'm like, crap, I'm not missing 2 weekends of cool things in a row. So
I looked at the radar, the storm was brewing, and we left, it started the rain. I'm like, good timing.
Yeah, it hasn't touched down here yet. It's just complaining a lot. So.
Well, and Sarah was tired.
Well, that's more important.
Okay, I think we've covered everybody that was at the show. So for the remaining people on the panel, for those of you that watched the show, what? Sorry,
except for me.
Oh, didn't we? Oh, sorry.
You were there.
I guess I wasn't. Okay.
You're so tall. I just saw legs. I didn't know who it was. Now, go ahead, Mark. Sorry, my apologies.
I didn't have much to say overall. I was not very prepared, and so my stuff didn't go that well. But I helped Rick out with his network card, and that seemed to attract a lot of attention, a lot of interest. So that's good.
And I think you had a fair bit of interest on the Boomerang E2. So mind you, didn't have everything there to kind of get it going fully.
Yeah, I had the bits and pieces, but I didn't have the time to get everything put together. So, anyway.
But you'll be ready for next year, right?
That's the plan. And like I said, I've gotten some interest otherwise. So I got people I need to get back to and get them some stuff. So it'll all be good.
Cool.
So I got one question. So if we were to extend it to Friday, would people come on Friday, you think? Or?
Oh, yeah.
I would.
I would definitely try. The only thing that would prevent me is if I'm really swamped with work. Then I might have to.
Just be aware.
Keep it Sunday.
Go ahead, Jim.
Well, just be aware that, I mean, we pay for Saturday and Sunday. And so, figure all in, what is it, like $3,000, $3,500. So you're talking about $1,800 a day. If you reserve it for Friday, which is fine, but that's another $1,800. So we need to find a place, we need to find where that money's going to come from, right? So it may be that you do Friday, but then you have to charge admission because you got to cover the $1,800. It probably is a little bit cheaper on Friday, but I don't know. So there's a trade-off, right? How many people are going to come? And I'm not trying to be a wet blanket. I'm just this show can
reality.
Take an idea. Yeah, this show can kind of take an idea and like go all the way forward with it. I just want to kind of not try to necessarily rain on everybody's parade, but there's money involved here.
Can you get a conference room without the main hall or some kind of division like that for the?
You can. The individual rooms I think are about $400 a day. I think the main room is $900 a day. So you could get the two little rooms, like the one that was that we did the presentations in. You could get that room for $400, and there's a room across the. We don't use it, but there's another room that's off to the end of the ballroom. It's out past that walkway that goes outside, and that's at probably another $400 there. I forget what the name of it is. So yeah, you could do another room, but that's $400, but that's just the room rent. So you got $400, and you got the tables, and you got the, I don't know, you got the tax and the resort fee and everything else. So by the time you're done, you're probably $600, maybe $650 or so for one of the rooms.
And don't forget another 5 gallons of coffee.
Yeah, right. That's true. So I don't want to say don't do it. I'm just thinking it's great, and maybe if we negotiate all 3 days, then maybe we'll get a little bit better deal and whatnot if we're going to do it. But we really kind of got to commit to having people there. One of the things you asked about free admission, and I was one of the folks in addition to Grant that thought that was a cool idea. And I crunched the numbers beforehand, and I was pretty sure that if we got the tables sold, which we almost sold all the tables, if we got the tables sold and we did, at least $2,000 in auction proceeds, which we or I guess $1,000 in auction proceeds, and the dinner, then we'd have the money we needed to pay for the show, and we did. So we broke even and then some on that. But you will have to refigure it if we decide to do the Friday, because if only 30 people show up for Friday, I probably should have somebody ask how many people show up to Tandy Assembly on Friday, because only 30 people show up, and we know it's $600 for one of those side rooms. And then people will be like, oh, it's kind of cramped, we really need the second room. Well, that's another $600, so you're $1,200 for the day, and blah 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 blah. Pretty soon you're underwater on the fest, and that's probably not a place we want to be.
Yeah, I agree. That definitely has to be fully looked into to see if it's going to require like admission prices again. So. Okay, so for those of you on the panel that were not at the show, and we missed you all, but managed to watch it through live streams or have caught up on the streams afterwards that are on the I'm a Coconut channel on YouTube, what were your opinions? How was the streaming, for example? I know there was some issues that we didn't have direct feeds from the microphones. We're picking up a lot of room noise from the back of the room type thing out in the hallway where people were walking by and talking. I don't know if there's a possibility of getting something set up for next year that we can actually get a feed right off the mic or a mixing board or something to try to get a clean signal from it. But that was one thing I noticed personally looking at the videos after the fact. But what was your overall opinion of the show? Those people like Nick
Curtis, I'll say one thing real quick. That's something that Jim Brain and I and Stevie are going to be working on, is getting some of our own audio video equipment to hopefully do a better job streaming in the future. So that's something we're definitely looking into next year.
Okay, cool. They don't have that equipment there themselves, is I guess what I'm getting at.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think your point is valid. I think, and that was, and I'll take the hit for that, because what I told people is, listen, the focus of the show is the show for the people who are there. The feed is great, and so whatever we can do for the feed, we'll do for the feed. But it's kind of as is where is on the feed. And Steve was like, hey, I just made the decision to come, and then I was going to do some of it and I couldn't show up. And so that was that. But Steve and I did talk, and we're going to, he's going to be at VCF Midwest. I'm going to be at VCF Midwest. And for those of you who are, we're going to buy some equipment and do a dry run at one of the tables at VCF Midwest to see, because it's not enough to have good equipment. The problem is we need to have equipment that is super simple to run. I told him it really needs to be something where anybody, you walk in and you say, okay, push a button and you're recording or you're streaming or whatever. And that's all it requires, because who wants to be stuck at the control board all weekend as opposed to enjoying?
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so for anybody else on the panel, Nick, I'm assuming you watched some of it live. I don't know if Melly, if you did watching the show live or.
It was good. No, and the camera angles were okay. Yeah, no real problems.
Yeah, we didn't have to look up David Ladd's nose like last time, so that was
Excuse me?
I'm just making sure you're awake, David.
I really enjoyed watching the Saturday night jam. That was really cool. That was fun to watch.
Yeah, it was
I
fun
had
to
fun
participate.
trolling Stevie.
The sound quality was bad on the Saturday night thing.
It
Or
was
was
bad.
that, or was that just your guitar playing?
Yeah, Nick, that the sound quality in person was even worse. So be glad you weren't there.
Oh, okay.
Grant obviously was there. Millie, did you watch any of it or?
Wake up.
I did, yeah.
Any comments on how the streaming was working type thing?
The streaming's great. Yeah.
It worked. And I mentioned in the chat, I don't know if the chat was being picked up or not, but in the chat, the audio was serviceable. I mean, you could put it on headphones and it would be a bit clearer, but it worked even without them. There were some people complaining about the audio in chat, and it's like, it's a webcam halfway across the room and we can still get it. So it worked.
Okay. I mean, for watching the streams afterwards, like I said, I didn't have time to actually attend any of the seminars this year except my own.
Yeah, for the repeats, being able to pick them up and put it on YouTube with better audio would be better for preservation. But for at least just getting an idea of what was going on, the streams that were done were great. I loved it.
I've got to add, the audio was good enough that YouTube subtitled it properly. So
actually, yeah, that's something I don't know if everybody's aware of, but we got a ton of copyright notices that we're going to get demonetized because apparently we played our jam session so well that we had about 20 copyright claims. I guess thinking we were playing the original track. So I took that as Stevie mentioned as a
on YouTube. That's just going to happen. You can counter it, but there are people that are copyright happy on there. That's kind of a notorious thing.
Yeah, because I mean, we were just doing cover songs. We usually didn't finish them. So I was kind of
if it
surprised.
was a cover, then yeah, people are gonna try and copy strike you.
Okay.
Just be careful with that because you can get your channel in trouble. Just keep.
Yeah, we've been
an eye
there.
on it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's too bad. I mean, we're just having fun. We're just playing stuff, that 3 people remembered how to play out of the 10 that were involved type thing.
Are you sure it was a copy strike and not a crappy strike?
Somebody begging mercy.
You may have a point there, Nick, but no, it was funny because I recognized some of the songs that I played on. I'm going, I didn't play it that good. You should even be able to recognize it. I'm kind of surprised. So I took it as a flattery thing. If they thought it was close enough that I was matching an AC/DC song to hit a copyright strike, it was like, wow, I played that better than I thought.
Yeah, there's some people that play only a few seconds, just a few seconds, like a couple of seconds. That anything copyrighted, they're gonna get striked for like a second or two of copyrighted stuff. So they're really on it.
Okay. Yeah, I thought the rules were more loose if you're covering it. Like if you have a cover band in a bar type thing being live streamed type thing.
Might have to. I used to go through asset libraries and like figure out how to give they're just going to monetize it usually, which is really irritating.
Yeah, so that's all they did in this case. It was just a monetization they shut
Yeah.
down, not take the channel down type thing.
Yeah.
Which we were fine with. I mean, if that's perfectly legitimate in this case because we're playing somebody else's song.
They can have the
other
20
somebody.
cents.
Yeah, tens of fives of cents or whatever Dale Lear quoted there years back. I was just flattered that they thought we were playing it well enough you could recognize the song. That was a big plus for me.
Well, there's an idea. You should have a competition whereby people have to rate their own songs and perform it on the day. And it's got to be Coco oriented. So
yeah,
you
we've had
make
a
up
few of those in the
Coco
past.
song.
Now we've had Bruce, we've had Rick, we've had
yeah,
Taylor and Amy, of course, have done their one this year too. So yeah, that's actually not a bad idea. I can't sing though, so Nick, you'll have to do the singing for me.
Oh yeah, right.
And is there anybody else in the panel that was not there that might have watched this stream? I don't think so. No, I think we've gone through everybody. Nick Murrow, did you have any further comments? You said it was kind of fun. You especially enjoyed the jam. Did you catch the seminars and stuff too?
I caught a couple of them during the fest, and yeah, I'd agree. The sound the sound was a little challenging sometimes.
Yeah, I think it depends how well your hearing is too. Like, because I've been playing loud rock guitar for 30 plus years, my ears are pretty well blown. So, when I'm trying to pick up stuff, I was hearing more of the background noise, probably more than somebody with, normal hearing would have had. But it was still intelligible. I mean, I still watched all the seminars. So
yeah, it was still intelligible for sure.
And the fact that Jim and Stevie and Grant are working on, getting equipment to solve that problem once and for all, I think it's a great idea. So well worth it. Yep. So comments in the chat, I'll just mention here.
It'd be cool if there was a way to get a video feed too. I don't know how possible that is.
Yeah, I think we'll probably have to have some follow-up, Zoom meetings or something with some of the Glenside people to just, see what kind of things we do to tweak. But the general format seemed to work okay. And having the extra pauses between the seminars, I think really helped a lot of people too, instead of having to rush from one to the other type of thing.
Yeah, and I plan to extend those next year too. So maybe instead of 15 minutes, maybe it'll be 30 minutes, and maybe cut the number of presentations down a little bit.
Well, if we had extra time on Sunday or extra time on Friday, that you might still have the same number. They'll just be even more spread out to give time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It just gave us time to go to the restroom.
Yeah. Rocky, comment. That's very good.
And get more coffee.
The hour and a half lunch really worked out well too this year.
Yeah. So Rocky says, I and a bunch of other people unknowingly drank decaffeinated coffee out on a boat for about a week. We had no idea caffeine withdrawal was so bad. Must have been the caffeine. I've been through that myself. Tim Franken says, Coco Players, the Yoko Ono of YouTube. That's probably more accurate than I'd like to admit. Scott Cooper said, I appreciated any feed from the CoCoFest I could get. Thank you. 8th Bit in the Basement. I followed most of the Saturday streams. I found it all to be fine. Audio and video were maybe a little iffy at times, but I'm stuck in Europe and enjoyed what I saw. That's the other thing too. Like, we have a lot of people in Europe that can watch that, probably, especially now with prices of gas and plane flights and stuff, that there's no way they can make it here unless they're multimillionaires. So it's good to have that kind of stuff. James Diffendaver says, I could hear someone answering their phone over the top of one speaker. Yeah, I got that too. And once again, that's once they get these audio details ironed out and get some equipment that we can actually directly feed it, then that'll solve all of that in one fell swoop. But I mean, for jury rigging it together in a hurry, especially when some of the principals weren't able to make it, like Jim, I think it went pretty well. I didn't miss anything in the seminars, and I've watched them all. So I mean, I might have to rewind a little bit and go, oh, that's what he said. But it wasn't too bad. So I think it was a very successful fest. I had a blast. As I mentioned, it was probably the funnest one I've been to since the first one, since I started coming back. I think some other people have mentioned, Jason had mentioned it was the best one he's been to, period. For other old timers out there that have been to them, many times over the years, where would you rank it? One of the top 5 or something, or is it average? Or
I like the new fest. In the old days, we had more people, but a lot of the people that went through were just kind of walking through. And now everyone there was interested in what's going on. So I really
more engaged.
That. Yes.
Yeah, I found that too. I mean, we had a fair number of people engaged, but there was a lot of people that just, kind of just came out to come out. Or maybe they came with somebody, as somebody that was really interested in, they weren't that much. I don't know. But even the people that, like Maureen that came out, who's nothing to do with the retro or Coco community at all, and she had fun. That was a testament, I think, that the show is just generally fun. It doesn't have to be that you're into retro computers or into the Coco.
I thought
Go ahead, Jim.
I thought it was interesting that evidently the show has gotten popular enough that we had, I can't remember, it was a siding company or a bathtub remodel company tried to get a table at the show.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, well, we didn't publicize it, but somebody's like, hey, I'd like to do a show, and it's, I can't remember. It was one of those, totally not retro related things. And so Tony was like, no, we're not going to do that.
Now,
So-
Jim, if they want to put a hot tub in the corner for some of us, that might not be a bad
Yeah,
idea.
well, okay. No, I'm sorry. All of you.
Oh, you heard about the threat of David Ladden's
I'm not-
Speedo, I take it.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm not young and I'm not in the best of shape, and some of you are in worse shape than me, and I would not want to see me in a hot tub at the show. So nope, that's a no there. So,
Oh, come on now. You know you'd love it.
I would not.
I'm very self-conscious about my girlish figure. Thank you very
That's
much.
right. Well, you all can get those jacuzzi suites at the hotels right near the area there, and do that on your own. Whatever
Well, we have a
happens
pool. I
in
mean, people
Elk
could have
Grove
went and
Village
swam if they
stays
wanted
in
to,
Elk
though I
Grove
don't know if
Village.
anybody did. So
Yeah, no, there was. I mean, behind the scenes, it's kind. I mean, I'm assuming that sort of stuff happens every year, but yeah, we had that, and then of course the coffee thing, and there was just a couple of interesting things that don't actually get talked about at the show, but they kind of happen behind the scenes. So.
well, thanks for sharing that one. But that's kind of funny. I wasn't expecting that. And other than that, I like we're not doing a regular news segment today. We're going to save that for next week. We want to concentrate on the fest wrap up here. I'll mention for next week, we actually have a special guest to get interviewed, Todd Wallace, who's Lord Dragon on our Discord. He's done a lot of like music players, and he's done the IBM CJ font for Nitrous 9 and a bunch of other things. And he released that game a few weeks ago, so he's going to be on to talk about the game because it's the first game he's ever written in machine language. And he said he might have a version 2 of one of his other older programs out that he'd be able to show off next week as well. So we're going to do a full interview with him. We've had him on before with just like one specific project. We'll actually kind of cover his whole history of the Coco type thing. We've also going to be having some game developer updates. If they can come on or not, there's some stuff from the fest to show. Like obviously Bruce has talked about his. Maybe we'll get some video shot of his game running with the MP3 player running in the background. John Strong had previewed his Dr. Coco, which is a clone of the Dr. Mario arcade game, which he actually did a seminar on the development of, and he's gotten a lot further in that game than he did the last time I saw it. So I think it's just about done. We also got, we'll try to show Glenn Hewlett's Robotron that was released, and there's 3 or 4 other ones. I think Nick's got an update to do next week, and there's a few other people that have got updates as well. So we're gonna have a kind of a game-centric episode next week, along with the Todd Wallace interview. So look forward to that for next week. I don't have too much else to add. I am guesting on another show here not too long from now, and I want to try to grab something to eat, so I won't keep you guys too long. But is there anything else you guys wanted to cover that's not specifically fest related?
I just like to make one little announcement that's kind of CoCoFest related. Just be on the lookout here. Probably in the next 2 to 3 weeks, I'll be sending out a survey to everybody who attended to get their feedback on everything. So
I should check my junk mail is what you're telling me?
Exactly.
Okay, gotcha.
And promptly ignore it.
Is this one of these surveys that they actually entice people to do them? You actually have a little prize. Maybe I can finally win a door prize for the first time ever.
I think we already got that already through your coffee bill.
My 1 gallon prize. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
I heard the cocoa, the hot cocoa went over very well. So I'm glad whoever suggested that in November. That was a cool idea.
And it's cheaper too, isn't it?
It is. It was cheaper. Yeah. Coffee is $38 a gallon and tea is $28 a gallon. And I think like the hot cocoa was like, I don't know, maybe $15 or $10 or whatever. So
in that
yeah, you
case,
guys
I
all
can
need to
help
switch to cocoa.
my contribution to the bill next year. I will make mochaccino type things. So I'll do half hot chocolate, half coffee.
Well,
and
no,
cut my
that was the
consumption
thing.
down.
People were putting the cocoa in the coffee.
Oh, really? Okay.
So,
Yeah, there's some like some of our arenas and stuff sell it that way up here because a lot of people drink it that way.
Oh, yeah, you take the cocoa mix, you dump it in the coffee, and you're good.
Well,
never
I
heard
guess
of that.
I guess no judgment, but that's weird.
It might make it
It's not
palatable.
honest.
But that'll cut me down to like half a gallon a day, so that should help the bill a bit.
Well, no, you still get the gallon of coffee, but then you get a gallon of cocoa too.
Yeah. Fair enough.
All right, we ready for the game on?
Yeah, I think so. I think we've done covering the fest. So thanks for everybody that came out. Thanks for everybody that watched, and glad everybody had a good time. And now on to game on.
There you go.
Okay, let me do the intro. All right, take it away, Sloopy.
Welcome to the Game On Challenge this week. And let's see what those scores were.
This was a double header this week too, right?
Yes, it was. We were playing Paper Route and Nightmare Highway. Nightmare Highway.
I see. I'm not the only one who's sleep deprived over the CoCoFEST.
Yeah, for some reason, even when I was allowed to go to bed, I couldn't sleep. Yes, and performance anxiety. Sorry. This went a lot better in my head and in rehearsal. All right, Game On Challenge 116, Paper Route and Nightmare Highway. We played Paper Route with 14 players. And in 14th position, Mr. Dave, 6309, with a score of 200. 13th, Mark B with 1,000. 12th, R. Alan Murphy, 2,400. 11th, Tasman with 3,700. 10th, AJ of the infamous Tim and AJ sibling rivalry, because I'm not pronouncing that, sorry, 4,450. L. Curtis Boyle, our professional game player, 7,450.
That's Buck Owens, that's not me.
Position 8. Hey, that name looks familiar. 8,300. 7th, Sabhead, 8,400. 6th, David Craker, 9050. 5th, Rich N with 9,300. 4th, Paul Shoemaker, 10,700. 3rd place, Jim Rye, 15,900, who was also our guest host last week. 2nd place, Tim Lindner with 25,700.
Before you get to first, I want to make a comment on here because the paper was actually the sibling rivalry show's game of the week.
Yes.
And they both played, and actually AJ had won. And then Tim snuck back in afterwards and played a bunch of games to get a better score to submit, which AJ did not know about, and she's a little bit miffed. So I just wanted to mention that. You'll see it in the comments on their video. Anyway, please continue.
Yep. AJ, this is your proof that he cheats. All right. And the number one in Paperboy is 8-Bits in the Basement with 43,600.
Holy crap. That's a big spread.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of people started playing it a little bit and were like, and then we also played Nightmare Highway, that CoCo Classic, or CoCoFEST Classic. We had 11 drivers. 11th, Charlie, the son of Flutterball. 10th, Mr. Dave, 6309 at 1507. 9th, Mark B with 2061. 8th, R. Alan Murphy at 2980. 7th, the illustrious Mrs. Karen Steen at 5006. 6th, Rich N at 5471. 5th, L. Curtis Boyle, 12271. 4th, Damon Beals at 12,761. 3rd, Jim Rye at 13,531. 2nd, me, woohoo, at 13,999. And the number one driver was Flutterball with 19,473. Thanks for playing, and go on. And this was a excellent choice of games. And unfortunately, I did not do the other things that are usually here. So we are just going to discuss the games themselves. I didn't do the research because I wasn't told that, hey, I needed to do that.
I think everybody knows about the story behind Nightmare Highway of the Terry Steen couch encounter coming to a fest a few years back, which has now spawned a video game. It spawned a song.
Right.
But Ken Reichert wrote that one. It's kind of a response to what happened, and it's a very fun game. Low res, and he's got a lot of humor even describing the game. Programmed to 100% ML and basic type of thing. Paper Route is a clone of Paperboy from the arcades, which is originally made by Atari. The Coco version is actually, it's a bit slow and a little bit choppy, but it actually plays pretty close. I've seen worse clones of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It had some issues when it was first written for 64K Coco 1s. It was done before the Coco 3 was announced. They didn't know that a little bit of RAM near the top was going to disappear. So if you bought the earlier version of it back in the day, it will not run in the Coco 3 properly. It actually crashes. There is patch versions available now, both from Dicom, and there's other patches which have added a bunch of other extra cheat modes and stuff there too that you can do, and you can run double speed, etc. But it plays like the regular arcade game. You're trying to deliver papers. The color of the door tells you whether the guy's a subscriber or not. So if it's a subscriber, you have to either put the paper right on his front door, or you have to throw it in his mailbox, and you'll get this little red flag that pops up on the mailbox if you succeed. If it's a non-subscriber, you're trying to hack it through their windows to tick them off, I guess, because they're not subscribing. So screw them. You're going to smash their windows out, and you dodge like cars and dogs and all kinds of stuff. It's a fun game. It's a fun game. I don't have any tips or tricks for it, though. I sucked at it. So.
Yeah, my skills in it are not that great either. It was one of my favorite arcade games, but I was never able to find a decent home port of it. And it's not exactly the type of game that you can really play on MAME because of the special controls. It actually had a pair of handlebars that you'd move forward and back to speed up and slow down, and then buttons on it for throwing papers and such.
Yeah, about the only recommendation I can give is that I think, if I remember correctly, the layout, like where there's these little bundles of papers, like once you've done all 10 that you have in your possession, you have to get a bundle more to get more to put to more houses. So if you memorize where they appear, because I don't believe they change, they're always like the sixth house has papers or whatever type thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that if you memorize it, you can do very well at it, because then you know exactly where to go to pick something up and where to dodge something, and that type of thing. And as far as Nightmare Highway goes, the faster gear you're in, the more bonus points you get. Like, they're basically multipliers. If you run at gear 1, you get no extra points. If you run at gear 2, you get 1 times the value. If you're running at gear 3, it's twice times the value. And the 4th gear, you get 3 times, but that's almost impossible to not crash constantly. So try to get it up in 3rd gear as much as you can. You have to pick up fuel, so just kind of keep an eye on that.
Yeah, because first gear, you don't get any points. It's times 0.
Yeah. You just get the the points for actually making it there, really. You get bonus points if you do it with time left over, which, of course, on later levels, you get less time, and you get more obstacles to dodge, and I think less fuel as well. You actually made it to level 3, didn't you, Slippy?
Yes, I did.
And how much harder was that in level 2? Because I got to the end of level 2, I don't know how many times, sometimes within like 5 seconds of finishing it, I'd run out of time.
I don't know. There was more of a difference between 1 and 2 than there was between 2 and 3. The big thing is that because it's a longer distance you have to travel, you have to use a higher gear. Because on the first level, you can stay in 2nd the entire time and still make it. And on the 2nd level, you have to go into 3rd a few times in order to be able to make it to the end, to CoCoFEST. And 3rd, you have to use 3rd a lot more. So, and it seems that the sofas are truly random. So it's sometimes even in the first level, you'll get a lot of sofas all at once, which makes it difficult. And it doesn't seem to really like ramp up the number of sofas you have as you go on the levels. It just seems to have just a lot of sofas sometimes, and other times you have less. So beyond that, I mean, I mostly would stay in the second, hit third every once in a while, and then go back to second when more things would get on the screen. And that was pretty much my only secret for getting more than a few thousand points.
Okay. Because I don't have any other further tips than that. I don't know if anybody else in the panel that participated has any tips or tricks on the games or comments on the game itself.
And my only tip or trick for Paperboy or Paper Route is to go play Paperboy in the arcade.
This still wasn't your perfect clone of it, then, eh?
No. Yeah, it seemed the angle was too off and it was like way too difficult on the first level. So,
I mean, where, like, given how many people had clones, either official or unofficial, and other 8-bit platforms, even some 16-bit platforms, where would you rank it? Like, is it about the middle of the pack? Is it one of the worst, one of the best?
Honestly, it was playable. I mean, I wouldn't really rank it among the others because it's not. I mean, I don't remember them too well. I mean, a couple of them, all I remember is that they weren't worth playing. And I mean, this one was playable, so I guess it's not at the bottom. I do remember that on the NES, they could have done a whole lot better and they didn't. It's probably because it has a 6502 in it.
Yeah, that's one I'm thinking about going into optimize.
Yeah.
For either 639 or 69, depending on how he wrote it. Like earlier games of Dave Dies, he definitely was learning as he was going along. So there was some pretty major optimizations I could do, like the earlier stuff like Color Car Action. Paper Route's a bit later because that was actually when he formed DICOM already. So I don't know how much 6809 stuff he might have not learned yet. But I could definitely speed it up and maybe smooth it out a bit with 6309. So I'll add that to my list of ones to tackle.
Oh, that's not a short list.
Yeah, that's a fair bit.
Yeah. Also, see if you can change the angle that you throw the paper, because that was one of the things that I didn't like about it. If you're like going along and you throw a paper, it's like you have to throw it practically at the house before to get to the front door.
Yeah, that would be harder to change, I would think, because there's probably a lot of code wrapped around that. But I'll see what I can do.
You're the coding genius.
Paperboy doesn't seem that difficult in concept, but it must be really hard to implement because all of them have something wrong with them.
Yeah.
I don't know what's difficult about this isometric thing they got going on or whatever, but there must be something. So fix it, Curtis. Yeah. Fix it.
Yeah, it's not even a true isometric much really. It's more of a 2D with an isometric view.
But it's like always broken.
But yeah, it's just always is something just not quite right. And the thing is that on the CoCo version, literally it's simple functional things that should be fixable. So, I mean, it would seem that the level that they start off on should be like a Thursday or Friday as opposed to a Monday that it's starting off at, because there's situations where you have no choice but to completely skip throwing papers at houses because there's so much there right on like the sidewalk, like people walking by so much. And in the arcade, you don't have that until you get to the second or third day.
Curtis, you've died.
Curtis, you're
no audio, Curtis.
Audio.
Oh,
Curtis.
sorry. I was prattling on for hours there. Yeah, I agree, because like in the arcade, you kind of use the first level to learn how to play, like how to time the papers getting thrown so they hit the mailbox, etc. Whereas in this case, you're immediately dealing with a kid throwing a boomerang at you type thing. You know, trying to even on the beginning, trying to get the timing down at the same time while you're trying to dodge all that stuff. So I agree. Well, and if nobody else has anything to add, we can announce the game for next week. You remember what it is, Sloopy? Or do you want me to do it?
I'll let you do it because I can't remember. I'd know it if I heard it, but
I
know
won't be able to
it's-
pull the surprise screenshot out of it here, but I will share my webpage for it. So this is
Well,
one
you're
we
the-
actually played a little bit on the live stream not too long ago. So you guys might recognize this.
Yeah, that's it. Gray Lady.
So this is a Terry Steen game. It's one of the ones we covered when we had Terry Steen on for his extended interview. It's probably my favorite one out of all of his. It's actually based on an arcade game too, Seawolf, 1976, so it adds color and a few other things. It does support some speech stuff. Now, with this, originally he did that for the Spectrum Project speech pack because that was out before the Tandy one. I don't know if it does the speech on the Tandy one. I haven't had a chance to try that yet, but if you can play the game perfectly fine without it. Has multiple levels to go through, little radar, you got to shoot ships and stuff. There's some details there. You can watch the previous game non-challenge stream where we kind of picked one of Terry's other games to be the main one, Mrs. Pack in that case. But we did play a lot of his games. So if you guys want to kind of get a flavor of the gameplay, if you go back to watch that video, there's quite a few of us give it a try. So that will be the one for next week. And Ken will be back next week to help run this segment as well after he finally gets home. And of course, available in the archive. And Terry's given us permission for people to come and play them without any copyright issues to worry about. So please feel free to join it. It's a fun little game. Okay. This is kind of a silly segment to probably ask right after a CoCoFEST, but any project updates or acquisitions? I'm sure people bought some stuff at the fest. So I'm sure there's some acquisitions kicking around, and project updates. You probably already showed some of that at the fest itself there if you're a vendor. But if anyone wants to talk about anything in addition to what we already talked about in the fest?
Well, I got an acquisition if you want.
Sure.
All right, let me go grab it real quick.
Anybody else while he's getting that, just so I know who to queue up later?
Yeah, we didn't have anybody sign up beforehand.
I'll spare you the picture of my purple foot.
Dave Veer, in case you're wondering, Ken is actually en route on the last part of his journey back home. He left Calgary. He was on the show at the very beginning. He's actually stopping in Kamloops to pick up some CoCo-related hardware from somebody that he contacted, and then he's back to Vancouver.
First thing I got was this really cool cleaning cartridge and a server to go around it. Or two. That is a bit heavy. And got a 1 terabyte hard drive that will be used for running a computer so that someone can play their CoCo games on the CoCo emulator. And last but not least, the most CoCo related thing was I was given a non-functional CoCo 1 with no keyboard.
Oh, cool. That looks like a later model, and you've got some custom mods on it too, by the looks of it.
Yes, it has a power light on the front. And the custom mod is just the power for, it's just the wires for the thing, for the power light.
And I'm guessing it's an F board by the case. That'd be the one with the number by the cartridge port would end with a 285.
By the cartridge port that ends in 285.
Well, that one, it should be over by the power supply.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
actually, it did move with the F board, I guess. That's
Yes. Yes, it is an F board.
Okay, that's the easiest to upgrade to 64K if it's not already.
Yeah, I do believe it already is. And this is actually not connected.
That's
And
not
it's
the
actu-
No, it's not.
And it's actually missing a SAM and a 1372. But I know that those are not the cause of its ills and non-functionality. So. And that was basically my only acquisitions.
Okay, well, I already talked about mine. I bought some stuff from Rick there.
And speaking
Anybody-
of which, I wanted to shout out to Fabian of CoCoBite for giving it to me. Thank you much.
Anybody else got any project updates or acquisitions they want to talk about, whether they were at the fest or not? Going once?
Hey, Curtis. This is Robert. I got both of the Chibi Akumis books for assembly language.
Oh, do you have those to show on the stream, or?
Yeah, I can do that.
That's the ones where he's got like a volume that covers like multiple CPUs and then another volume that covers different CPUs, showing you how to program each?
They both cover different sets of CPUs. So here, let me get the camera found here. All right. So the light's kind of a problem. Shiny
Okay,
cover.
so the first one looks like ARM Thumb 65816, which I think that's the Apple II GS chip, if I remember.
I can read them out. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
So volume 1 is the beginner's instruction guide to assembly, instruction set overviews for the Z80, 6502, 68K, 8086, and ARM. The second volume is the introduction to assembly, instruction set overviews for ARM Thumb, 65816, 6809, PDP-11, and RISC-V, RISC-V. So, and volume 1 was on the Kindle for, you can just download it and read it, but volume 2 is not. So the 6809 one, you'd have to buy it if you wanted it in ebook form as well. But you can get the volume 1 as ebook or as ebook as a free Kindle read. So it's kind of like drug dealers, they put one out there to get you hooked. Well, I just skipped the whole problem and went ahead and bought all the drugs at once. So,
So you going to read them to us?
Sure.
Dramatic reading. So
Well,
Chibi
it's
Kumis,
got-
we've covered his channel before, and he actually doesn't just do CPU stuff. He actually covers some of the support chips like graphic chips and sound and stuff like that. So I'm assuming he does that with these too?
Yeah, he covers the whole kind of mess from what I've seen so far. But there's his little chibis, which are his little mascots, and they're all through the book. And there's lots and lots of illustrations of things. So it is very beginner friendly.
Okay. Because I know he's covered the Dragon and he's covered the Coco 1 and 2 and even a bit of the Coco 3 on his live, or not live, but on his YouTube page. Does he actually cover that kind of detail in the books as well?
So far, it looks like I haven't got the 6809 one really cracked yet. I was just getting in. I'm like 2 chapters into the first one, kind of going through the whole thing. But there's instruction set references, screenshots of different things, lots of little tool hints. So it's kind of like a really good companion to his video series.
Cool. So when you actually get a chance to kind of go through them in more detail and actually hit some of the stuff in the Dragon Coco, would you be willing to come on to kind of do a book review?
I sure can try.
I know some people have been trying to find
them.
like the Barden book and the TEPCO books, etc. And this is a modern one here, and also teaches cross-platform stuff too, so people converting and transcoding games.
6809, chapter 4. Imagine flipping right to it. Isn't that nice? And pages of code.
That's because you have
the code is also available on. There's a site with the support code available and things like that. So, yep.
Cool. I'd love to hear a follow up on that because I've liked this series. I mean, we've mentioned it multiple times. The show, especially when he's covering Dragon and Coco stuff, and he doesn't know what he's doing. He's not doing like the most optimized hand tweak thing you can possibly do. But if you're trying to write multi-platform, you generally don't do that because otherwise you're spending all your time optimizing for each CPU completely differently depending what their strengths are. So this is really good for doing some, where you're designing a game to be cross-platform, or just getting generally into assembly language, just learning the basics of it. You can figure out the hand tweak optimization stuff later.
Yeah, and thanks to emulators, you can play with all the different things. So even if you're only in it for 1 or 2 different platforms, it all builds on each other. So the stuff that he's talking about for Z80 and 6502, those are just specific flavors of that part of what he's working towards. And so as you work through different parts of it, you do get to see what some of the benefits and drawbacks of these other processors were. So that by the time you get to the 6809 part, then done. You know, it's, hey, look how awesome this is. And
See, that backs up our statement to Taylor when she said that the 609 is greater than the 6502. There's some actual published book proof as well, not just by numeric value.
well, plus anyone who's actually programmed the two side by side.
Yeah,
Right.
I've had some experience doing that.
So that was my opposition.
Cool. Just for anybody who's curious on that, there, how much do those volumes cost?
They were less than 20 each. I grabbed them both as a set, and it recommended some third one that was not by Chibi Akumas. And I looked at the third one and went, nah, just went for the set. And it was like 40, 45 all in. It wasn't that bad.
Yeah, that's not bad at all. I mean, that's comparable with some of the prices of those books back in the day, you know, never mind inflation in the middle of it. So and I would highly recommend it. I've gone through quite a few of his videos when we've covered them on the show here and actually listened to them all the way through and or watched them all the way through, I should say. And he demonstrates how to do graphics and sound and reading the joysticks and reading the keyboard. And this is on the Dragon and the Coco 1 and 2. He's done some brief touching on the Coco 3 stuff too. So there's some good stuff in there if you're just learning a similar language.
Yeah, and the most of these are about laying the groundwork so that you can get your head around the concepts.
Yeah. Cool. Anybody else got anything, project updates or acquisitions?
I have a project update.
Go for it, Jason.
It's pretty simple. The Dingo High Res premiered at CoCoFEST, and I do have some left over from CoCoFEST, and they will be available on my website, cocoman.biz, for order here in the next few days.
Cool. Thanks for that update. Anybody else? Going once, going twice. Okay. I don't have anything else I wanted to add to the show for today. Myself personally, I don't know if it's there's segments anybody else wants to cover. Like I said, we're going to hold off the news to next week. We've got the Todd Wallace interview. We'll be doing some game programming updates from various authors also next week. So look forward to seeing you guys there. Thanks again for everybody that came out to the fest and watched all the live streams, of course. We had a blast. Hopefully you guys had a blast too, even if you couldn't make it in person. I know one thing I'd like to get set up again that we didn't really have this time is actually set up a place where there's a live chat with a chat room type thing so that we can kind of like, you know, pop by if you're just sitting at a table. I think Brian used to do that or somebody did it in previous fest where you could actually just pop in and say hi to people on the chat, the people that can't make it in person. I'd like to get that set up again somehow.
I would like to say one thing if I could.
Sure.
I want to send a shout out to Jim Rye. Thank you for hosting the CoCoTALK Game On Challenge Live last week. Otherwise, we wouldn't have had one last week. He did a wonderful job and makes a good backup streamer. Thank you, Jim.
Agreed. Okay, well, if that's it, did we have any special outro, Mark, or are we just doing the regular outro?
No, we have a new outro.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen this yet. So.
All right, so let me hit this button over here. Sure, that's, hold on. Zoom, what in the world are you doing to me? Hang on a second.
Wah, wah, wah.
Jeez, Zoom. Gotta teach you every time. All right, now let's try this new outro.
This concludes another episode of CoCoTALK, the world's leading live talk show featuring the Tandy Color computer, MC10, and Dragon systems. For all things CoCoTALK, visit us on the web at cocotalk.live. We'd love to hear from you. Send feedback, suggestions, even segments via email to cocotalk@cocotalk.live. Consider supporting the show with a purchase of merchandise from our retro swag shop at 8bit256.com. If you'd like to become a patron of the show, click on the Patreon link on our website, CoCoTalk.live. CoCoTalk would not exist without the community, its cast, crew, and contributors. Thanks go to Alan Murphy, Amigos Retro Gaming, Bill Noble, Brian Joyce, Brian Weaver, Curtis Boyle, D. Bruce Moore, Danny O'Connor, David Ladd, Eric Canales, George Jansen, Grant Leedy, James Diffendapper, Jason Reichert, Jim Brain, Ken Reichert, Ken Waters, Mark Bosley, Mark Overholzer, Mikey Furman, Mr. Dave 6309, Nick Marentes, Nick Marotta, Nick Marotta, Nick Marotta, Paul Fiscarelli, Richard Lorbieski, Rick Adams, Rick Hewlin, Rob Inman, Ron Delvaux, Samuel Gimes, Sloopy Malibu, Steve Bjork, Terry Steggy, Tom C., and many, many more. Please help support the CoCo community. A list of various contributors and resources are available at imacoconut.com. That's IMACOCONUT.com. The original CoCoTalk theme song is copyright 2008 by D. Bruce Moore and Greg Sheeler. The new CoCoTalk theme song is copyright 2020 by D. Bruce Moore. Both are mixed, mastered, and produced by D. Bruce Moore. CoCo forever.
Okay.
Push the button, Frank.
Okay.
We'll see you all next week.
Bye.
Bye.